Afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope, if you're an Oilers fan, it was a tough weekend. I can say that. You probably had a good weekend getting outside, enjoying it, because you've been in basically hibernation for the last month with all the cold weather. But it was a beautiful weekend weather-wise. A terrible weekend for the Oilers on the ice. I can't think of two worse back-to-back games this team has played all season long. Even in their first three games of the year when they lost, they weren't that atrocious. They got spanked. They were leaking goals all over the place with some horrific turnovers and defensive play. And we'll see if they sharpen up a little bit when they return to the ice tomorrow. They take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. This road trip doesn't get any easier. You got Tampa Bay, then you have Florida, although they won't have Matthew Tkachuk on Thursday, and then you have the Carolina Hurricanes and the struggling Mikko Rantanen. And we wake up today 11 days from the trade deadline. And all the talk about Carolina, and they still don't have a contract. What if they don't have a contract? Do they actually trade him again? That would be crazy. So we'll get to that on the program today. Also, we will hear from quite a few. Got a loaded show today, so that'll be great. We're going to talk lots of hockey, of course. John Buccigross will join us, talk, of course, United States hockey. He'll be calling the Oilers game tomorrow. Also, we got Liam Troy will join us, the Edmonton Firefighter Rescue Service. They're on the roof. They do this every year for muscular dystrophy, although usually they'll have a tent. No tent this time. So a little bit chillier. And we'll talk about how you can help them raise money. We do actually have a sick auction item that we're going to get to in a second. Cody Fajardo will join us. Of course, he is the Elks backup quarterback, has had a very successful CFL career to date. Still believes he can be a starter, as he should, but he comes in. He's the backup to Trey Ford. What can he help him? What does he see from Ford? Where does he think he can help him? Spec will be by, as always, every Monday. Kevin Woodley joins us to break down goaltending. We'll look at that. I look at this weekend for the Oilers. I see one goal where I would say, yeah, you know what? I'd like the goalie to save it. And that was the Chikrin goal on Pickard. The shot just kind of threw a screen, picked it up late. Fine. But, man, there's a lot of the other ones your goalie had no chance. What was that fifth goal, the McMichael goal? Oh, my goodness. Defense, everybody's running around. It's tick, it's tack, it's tick, it's tack goal. It was pretty painful. So we'll talk to Woodley about that. Sean Brown will join us, as he always does, on Mondays for a few hours. We got the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate. We'll take your thoughts. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our Ewell inbox. Remind you, of course, the Jason Gregor Show is always brought to you by playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game. One of you, hopefully it was you, somebody won the Lotto Max $40 million on Friday. Really hope it was you. Just remember our deal if it was. If not, get your tickets for tomorrow's draw. It's 10 mil, still pretty good, right? Like, honestly, you win 10 mil, you win 40 mil. Does it really change? I think you'd be pretty happy either way. So check it out at playalberta.ca. The Edmonton Oilers did skate today in Tampa Bay, and they'll get set to take on the Lightning. Nikita Kucherov, who isn't playing quite well. That'll be a test for the Oilers, and I'll just say this. It doesn't really matter who the Oilers play right now. If they're going to be that leaky defensively, it's going to be ugly. Right? Matt Savoie, I liked his first game. Actually, I thought he had good jump in his second game. Ended up playing the fewest minutes. I have an article. I think it's out right now. I teased it a little bit on Low Tide Show. And so I want to preface it by saying, comparisons from one player to the next are always difficult because there's so many factors that go in. If you play here, are they as good as if you play here, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? I looked at the Edmonton Oilers situation right now. And so I'm fine. Okay, here's a young player. Highly touted young player. Very good in the American League. He's 21 years of age. And you come up for the second half of the season. You're like, okay, what's What could he potentially do? Now, there's obviously the best case scenario. And then there's other scenarios that are obviously, hey, there's lots of guys who come up the first time, they don't stick right away. It happens. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to come back up. And I also looked at teams for a young player to break in on a bad team are just simply a lot easier than it is on a good team. But not always. There are some teams that bring in young guys because ideally, you're changing your roster 20% of the year. And the Oilers, you look at 4 of the forwards right now in the Oilers weren't here last year when they went to the Cup final. Kapanen, Podkolzin, Arvidsson, and Skinner. None of them were here. Fogel's gone. Holloway's gone. McLeod's gone. Kane's been hurt all year long. So that's kind of who they've replaced. Right? Even Derek Ryan played 19 games in the playoffs. He's not here anymore. So, Matt Savoie, I guess, kind of replaces him in a way. So, you know what? It's a lot of new faces. But a player whose name came to mind in a similar situation, who came and joined a very good team in the second half of the year and got an opportunity. And then he ran with it. So 2 things have to happen. You give the player the opportunity, but then the player's got to run with it, because there's no guarantee because player A did it that player B will automatically do it. It doesn't work that way. But a player I looked at, similar in stature, size, weight, style of play, smart player, good stick. Neither one of these guys are, they're not Brad Marchand, who runs around and chirps guys or everything, because Marchand's not a very big guy. But the player I looked at came and entered a team that had been in the Stanley Cup final the year before. Now, the difference is they won. But the Edmonton Oilers, were they that much better of a team had they won Game 7 3-2? You know what I mean? Were they grossly, oh my God, they're so much better because they won that last game than that they lost it? I don't think so. So the Pittsburgh Penguins won the Cup in 2016. They had a pretty veteran core. You had a great line that year. Hagelin, Bonino, and Kessel were their third line. I could argue Phil Kessel could have won the Conn Smythe that year. He was great. You had Malkin and Crosby centering your top 2 lines. You had Rust and Sheary and Hornquist and Kunitz. Real veteran group. That's what they won with. Now you enter the 2016-17 season. All those guys were back in Pittsburgh. It's not like Edmonton where you lost 3 of your top 9 forwards. Or I shouldn't say lost, but traded them away, opted not to sign them, what have you. Pittsburgh didn't do that. They had basically the same group. The only difference was they had Scott Wilson instead of Eric Fehr, who was their 4th line guy. John Cullen was still there. Knuckle was still there. They really had the same team. But midway through the season, Jake Gensel got recalled. Now, originally, he got recalled almost to the day. Now, he's 1 year older. He was a 22-year-old. Savoie's a 21-year-old. Jake Gensel, when he got recalled the first time, his birthday's October 6th. He got called up November 21st. He played 5 games. Actually scored 3 goals in 5 games and got sent back. Could you imagine people, what? Guy had 4 points in 5 games. What are you doing? Oh, you're terrible. I'm sure there was that. But then they brought him back up on January 16th. So he went back down to the minors, didn't pout, just kept lighting it up, maintained his confidence. And then he came back up and joined the Penguins in the middle of January. Now, his first 5 games, he played exclusively with Evgeny Malkin. Then he came up in January, and he ended up playing mainly with Crosby. He actually played more minutes with Bonino, 97, than he did with Malkin, 70. And then he played 306 with Crosby. So he was mainly on Crosby's line, and then he was there a fixture in the playoffs. You know what the coaching staff did? Hornquist, Kunitz, those guys, a little bit older, a little bit slower, they went down the lineup. Gensel got the opportunity, but he ran with it. I think Chris Knobloch has to take a long, hard look at Matt Savoie and give him an opportunity beside Leon Draisaitl. Not one game, not the minute something goes wrong. Oh, let's take him off. Let's put McDavid back with Draisaitl. No, don't do it. I get that it's easy. And the advantage that Knobloch has that Mike Sullivan didn't was Mike Sullivan still had his roster group of players who had won a cup with him. And they were all still there. Veteran guys, played smart, but now he got a little lucky, I guess, because you had a few injuries to guys. So that opened up some time. Evander Kane's not here, so you can make an argument. There's one of your key injuries. Matt Savoie, you can make an argument. When I look at stylistically, Jake Gensel, not any bigger. He's a little bit taller, not as heavy as Savoie. Savoie's a year younger. He's 21. Gensel was 22. Now you're a little bit stronger every year, of course. I understand that. So a small factor. But you had Crosby and you had Malkin as your top two centers. You got McDavid and you got Draisaitl. I think they're pretty good. Right? Crosby and Malkin, this was in 2017. They'd been in the league a long time. They were established players, just like McDavid and Draisaitl are. Many people think McDavid and Draisaitl are kind of replacing that duo of what they had in Pittsburgh. And there's lots of similarities. So I get it. So Savoie has the chance to play with high offensive players in Draisaitl or McDavid. Now, he already has Zach Hyman, who's shown he has a great rapport with Connor McDavid. That's why I'm putting Savoie with Leon Draisaitl. Their first game together, early on, Savoie, nice assist, they scored. Right, then they were on for the Ekholm goal. They were on for the connecting goal, the tippet goal against, but still 2-1. Solid game. I thought Matt Savoie had a really solid game. I thought he had jump even in the second game. He looks a little bit quicker than some of the other guys right now. And I think, to be honest, he has more offensive confidence. So I think Knobloch owes it to the team, owes it to Savoie to give him a look. And not just a look for 1 or 2 games. Like, I want to see an extended period of time to see what he can do. He might not be Jake Gensel, because Jake Gensel's turned out to be really good. 2-time 40-goal scorer. He scored 30 goals. He's going to score 30 goals again this year. I don't know if Savoie will ever be that good, but he doesn't have to be as good as Jake Gensel. He just needs to be more productive than what they're getting from their top 6 wingers right now, not named Zach Hyman. And it's not a lot. So that's why I would do it. I'd give him a look and have it be an extended look. Cons, what say you?
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, the bar's low, right? Like, they're not getting a lot of production outside of Hyman on the wings when it comes into the top 6. And if you're going to give him an opportunity to play at the NHL level, it has to be in the top 6. Like, that's the kind of player that he is. Let him ride shotgun with Leon Draisaitl and see what happens. Like, I love the tenacity that he shows setting up that Draisaitl goal in the game on Saturday. I tweeted it. See puck, get puck, find 29. Like, just get it to him and good things are going to happen. So I think I'm with you with that one. If he's going to be here, it's got to be playing on the top 6. Give him his opportunities. He's an offensive-minded player. That's where he's going to thrive. And for him, like a little bit of pressure to produce, but the bar's kind of low. We haven't seen too many people really grab that opportunity and run with it and put up the points outside of Hyman. So, yeah, I think he's probably the best candidate to do so.
I think you got to try it. I don't see how you couldn't at this point. I think there's lots of opportunities to do it. So there you go. Also today, we are helping out the Edmonton Fire Rescue in support of Edmonton firefighters and muscular dystrophy. We'll talk to Liam later on in the show. They're on the roof. Not bad weather today, but hey, it gets cold overnight, and they stay on there until they reach their goal. We'll tell you exactly what their goal is, but we can help it out today because you're going to have a very unique auction item. This is not something you can buy. You can't really do. You had to get a lot of clearance to have this. So it's going to be for your group of 6 people. You're going to get a limo that picks you up at your house, so you'll ride in style, and you're going to go to the flagship fire station in Edmonton, which is station number 1. And there you're going to have a 3-course meal prepared by Edmonton's own 5-star chef, Andrew Fung, of course. He's a head chef at 19, and he's got the brand new Juco. If you haven't tried it, it's very good. Now, you also get a tour of the hall, the equipment. You get to check out the fire trucks, everything like that. You also will get to meet and eat with members of the Edmonton Firefighters. And this happens on April 28th. So it's a specific day because you got to plan all ahead. You can't just have random Joes just come in to the fire hall at any time. All right. So it's on April 28th. That's the evening you do it. Right. The limo will pick you up probably around 6 because your dinner, you show up at 7 o'clock. So depending on where you're at, within an hour distance of the fire hall. Okay. So that's why maybe you get picked up at 6, maybe you're at 6:15, 6:30, depending where you live and away you go. So you get a great meal for 6 of you. You're riding the limo, and you get a great chef. Get to tour around some of the fire halls, places you don't really get to go very often. So if you want to help out, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. So great opportunity for this, 833-401-1440. And we got an opening bid at 500, so we're off and running from Jason. So there we go. I like it. All the proceeds are going to be donated to Muscular Dystrophy Canada, okay? In case you're wondering. So it's awesome. It's an awful disease to deal with, and here's your opportunity to help out, and away you go. This just coming down, Ryan Hartman, that he remains suspended, but he got his 10-game suspension reduced to 8 games by Commissioner Gary Bettman. So there you go. He'll be able to return a little bit sooner on March 8th. Now, he benefited, I would believe, from having this appeal during Four Nations. Because as we know, Connor Halley, he probably would have had the appeal happen at the same time, and they would have had way more games in that 2 weeks. So Ryan Hartman, the appeal process worked for him. It saves him some money and 2 fewer games in suspension. So there you go.
Did you think 10 games was deserved at the time? And did you foresee this happening? Because I'm trying to think times where we've seen suspensions reduced. Doesn't seem like it happens too often.
No, I thought they went pretty heavy. And so now, you know what, it looks like if he would have been suspended 8 games at the start, people would be like, yeah, it's worth 8 games. So I think they went a little bit heavier. He does it. So now maybe he feels like, oh yeah, I got to win. But I didn't like the play. I thought it was pretty cheap. And he knew what he was doing. Like, let's not pretend here that he just fell. I don't believe that at all. McGregor, mark my words. Savoie's Yamamoto makes a decent pass from behind the net. Besides that, did nothing. RL. Well, RL, I'd strongly disagree with you. He's quicker than Yamamoto is. I think he's a little bit smarter of a player. And he's actually bigger than Yamamoto. He's 30 pounds. He's 25 pounds heavier than Yamamoto. Yamamoto was $150, maybe $155. Savoie's $180. It's a significant difference. Significant. So we'll see where he goes. Smart player. Smart guys usually have a little bit more success with Leon Draisaitl. So we'll see where it goes from there. And now Bettman did also reduce Jason Spezza's suspension from 6 games to 4. So it's happened before. It's rare, but it's happened. Usually it doesn't happen, Cons, because they don't hear it by the time the games are played, which is why I think it's, it's somewhat of a weak actual appeal process, but it worked for Hartman. Quick break. When we return, we will hear from John Buccigross talking Oilers. We'll talk NHL, a little USA hockey, and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Attention drivers, it's the Midwinter Tire Clearance Sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only. At participating McDonald's in Canada.
After the next hockey game, you can have your say with the Sports 1440 postgame show. This is your host, Andrew Walker. Join us and give your takes on the game, good or bad. It's all brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery in St. Albert. The postgame show on Sports 1440.
Kids get in free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
Okay, how about you give us your star winger for a bag of pucks?
You gotta be kidding me. No deal.
What if I throw in some Will Hawk beef jerky?
Okay, you got yourself a trade.
With Wilhauk Beef Jerky on their side, the Alberta teams definitely have an unfair advantage this trade deadline. Pick up some today and use it for trade leverage in your fantasy league.
No way, man. It's way too good.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win trades with salad.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and over the years, I've noticed something. New RV stores tend to treat the used RV customer as kind of a second-class citizen, not as important as the customer buying new. Heck, that even extends to the way they treat the used RV staff, and I ought to know.
You learn the business in the used department at a new RV store, right, Rick?
That's right, Bob, but I always loved used RVs. They're all one of a kind. I drove a used car as well. Used is always a better value than new. Come to think of it, I drive a used truck now.
Sounds like buying used means getting the most value for every dollar spent.
That's it exactly, Bob. A new RV is worth a lot less the second you roll it off the lot. Our customers benefit from that correction in value, which makes them smarter. So we treat you like a VIP because every customer and every staff member knows our used RVs are better than new.
And that's No Bull.
NoBullRV.ca.
When you wash, get The Works. The Works Car and Truck Wash is now open in Wetaskiwin. With 8 self-serve bays, you'll never have to wait in line. This isn't your typical gas station car wash. Choose from soft touch or touchless automatic washes. Plus, big trucks are welcome in the oversized highway truck bay. Use code SPORTS1440 when you purchase a wash card, and you'll receive a 15% bonus. Cannot be combined with other offers or promotions. When you wash, get The Works. Visit theworkswash.ca or follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows. Locally manufactured and installed, Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
So what is wrong with it?
224, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a lovely day. It's Monday. The weather's beautiful. All of a sudden, man, it feels so much better than the freezing snap we had for a month. So that's good. The Oiler fans need it right now. Probably needed to go for a walk both Saturday and Sunday afternoon after those defensive nightmares by the Edmonton Oilers. So you probably need to blow off some steam. Probably could walk around in a t-shirt. Some of you are so fired up. I get it. It was a tough back-to-back afternoon defensively for the Edmonton Oilers. They were back on the ice today in Tampa, and we'll get set to take on the Lightning tomorrow as we go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. McDavid versus Matthews. You can find out who's the best and try some top-line menu items, the Smoky Quarter Pappy or the Big Mac David. Also, the triple cheeseburger and more. Check out the showdown menu today at McDonald's as we joined by the gentleman who will be calling the game on ESPN tomorrow. Of course, a huge hockey fan. John Buccigross joins us once again. John, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
Thank you, Jason. Doing well. Driving to Tampa right now.
Where you drive from? How long of a drive is it?
I was down in Naples, Florida, one of my favorite places in the world, last cup during Four Nations break. And now, so as the schedule has it, first game is a nice little convenient drive up to Tampa.
Oh, okay, perfect. Now, John, you've been covering USA hockey for a long, long time. Now you've had to, obviously they wanted to win. I get that. But when you look at that tournament, and obviously there was way more eyes watching those games, which is great. You know, I've long said, well, people talk about, the NHL's got to grow internationally. I'm like, they got to grow more in the U.S. and continue to do it. How much do you think this tournament can help USA Hockey, and how do they ensure that they capitalize on it long term?
Yeah, it's a great question. It was a great spot of the sports calendar. You know, nothing really going on. It had the contrast of kind of the disinterested NBA All-Star weekend, which helped kind of show the difference in the competitiveness of the two formats. You know, the international aspect of USA and Canada and just that kind of country rivalry certainly helped. So it had a lot of good things going in its favor. You know, whether or not there'll be a bounce back, you know, people watch Olympic downs, you know, skiing, and they watch gymnastics and swimming, but they don't watch in between the Olympics.
Right.
So you hope you do gain some fans and that they love the sport, and especially the Stanley Cup playoffs, because that's how I would market it if I'm the NHL, is to keep pushing this Four Nations stuff, you know, showing goals, showing the fights, and then kind of using that in a Stanley Cup playoff promo to try to get some of those fans to tune in when that happens here coming up. And the Ovechkin chase also helps. So I hope that they're proactively thinking about marketing at a national and local level with the NHL teams and the NHL.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you have to do it. I agree that, you know, you're not going to keep everybody because, you know, hey, when it's patriotic pride, it's a little bit different than just, you know, do I even have a team I cheer for all of a sudden, right? If they're a new fan, they're like, well,
right.
Okay, maybe I'm in Columbus. All right, now I'll cheer for the Blue Jackets. And so, you know what, you got to do something to kind of tap into that. You're in Tampa Bay. You look at the Lightning. They don't have a first-round pick. They haven't had a deep playoff run for them in a few years after going to 3 consecutive Stanley Cup finals. Florida's banged up. Toronto, we're waiting to see what they can do in the playoffs. What do you think Tampa does? Do they just tweak around the edges? Do you think they make a big splash, or do they stay status quo between now and the deadline?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, they have a bunch of guys obviously tied up long term. And that can always make a team a little bit flat. And how desperate really are they? They're already all rich and they all have security. And then they have a bunch of minimum wage guys, you know, 700 to 900K. That's kind of their model right now. But, you know, they're sneaky playing really well now. They're like, you know, top 6, both offense and defense. And that's usually a very easy way to see who are the true contenders in the NHL, who can win a Stanley Cup. You know, the goals for, goals against, the closer you are to 1, then you're a really good team. And they're right there. They're scoring and they're preventing. So I got to think, but that bottom, they are top heavy for sure. And they would need those guys to go nuts in the postseason. Nikita Kucherov has kind of cooled down in terms of postseason goal scoring. He's kind of gone flat the last 3 years, especially the last 2, and that's why they've been eliminated in the first round. They need him to score goals in the postseason. But, yeah, I do think they're going to certainly look around and see if they can add something, you know, to try to maybe balance out 3 lines. Right now they're very top-heavy in 2. John Cooper kind of fiddles and diddles with that lineup. He went very strong top 2 against Seattle. I'm sure he does that via matchup situations, but I'm sure they would love to get one more really good forward, for sure.
Yeah. Easier said than done. I guess when you go see that or you go to call that game tomorrow, John, you'll be like, can the Oilers play defense? Because they were not good against Colorado before the break. And then they come out and everyone's like, oh, you know what? They're rested except for McDavid. They should be okay. And, they were not okay defensively. That Philadelphia and Washington game where those were ones where the coaches will likely want to burn the tape because there was not much good defensively. They got to tighten things up quickly here.
Yeah, again, they're that middle team for goals against. I think they're down there at 16, I believe. You know, you look at their team, and I was thinking about that. I like to write out my line charts by hand. It helps me think about the players and the team. I like researching stats and awards and things like that when I prepare to call games. I just kind of love that part of the job and part of being a hockey fan. And I just wonder about them. So I'm certainly defensively. I didn't understand the Klingberg side. I just don't think Klingberg kind of fits in what they need. They don't have a lot of confrontational guys per se. I think they miss Kane there. They just don't have those edgy guys that can fuel a team. I mean, they win 9-1, they lose 9-1, almost too much. And I think that kind of goes to that, those non-confrontational guys. And I didn't understand the Skinner sign, the Arvidsson thing right now. I don't want to use the word disaster, but it's not good. It's $4 million. And so there's just a couple swing and misses they made in the summer. And I just wonder if they're going to try to fix it here somehow by sending draft capital some places to get rid of contracts, create space, plug in something more that they need. And I think it's a little bit, it's not red alert in Edmonton, but I think it's a little bit of concern.
Oh, no question. Leon Draisaitl's been the best player in the NHL this year, despite wingers producing very little alongside of him, which just shows what a great year he's had. But I think they need they just need an interjection of a little bit more offensive speed there. And I agree with you wholeheartedly, John. The Oilers, they lack tenacity in their forward. They do not. They're not a hard team to play against physically, and they're veteran guys. Arvidsson's done nothing. Skinner's been okay. I don't know if he fits with his speed. I'm not sure he can really help you come playoff time. So yeah, they got a few pieces. They're still good, don't get me wrong, but they definitely have some areas they got to improve. And team defense is one. Some would say goaltending, and that's valid. But I think team defense lately has been as big of an issue for them.
Right. Being in your face, are you hard to play against? The thing is, they have a cheap goalie situation. I mean, you're talking, they have $4 million worth of goalies. What about these teams that have 11 and 12? They get a free player, and they still really haven't used that, that break right there to get that other guy. And I understand they're so, with Draisaitl and with McDavid, they're so up there, and Nurse even as well. But yeah, I really think they should kind of look for those one or two guys that can bring some energy and heart. And obviously, like in a non-salary cap world, like a Travis Konecny would be perfect for this team. Someone like that. Can they find someone like that out there on a team who's not real expensive that maybe they can make work?
John Buccigross joins us from ESPN. He'll be calling the Oilers Tampa Bay game tomorrow night. John, what do you make of the Panthers? They have no cap space. Now we know that Matthew Tkachuk is injured, although Paul Maurice said that, they expect him to play again this year. Didn't specify necessarily the regular season. Do you think they is he going LTR? Are they going to use that money, or are they going to be maybe less reserved in what they look at the deadline?
I would LTIR him, just even in just you're not going to play anymore. We're giving you 6 weeks off. Obviously, you injured your groin. Speed is an issue for you when you're 100% healthy. Just start over again. It's been a long grind for you these last 2 years, and now you're stuck in 4 nations. Just take 6 months of extreme treatment, rest, training camp. I can just start from scratch and get ready to go. And that's what I would do. And I think that's a smart thing to do just from the player standpoint. And obviously it's a smart thing to do with the cap. So I think it's right there for them to do that. Yeah, they need a right-handed shot defenseman. I think they almost need 2 defensemen. Losing Ekman Larson, who was so good for them, and Montour was a giant hole that they really haven't fixed. They really haven't addressed at all. And offensively, they're fine. They have a great group of forwards. I see no need to add there, really. They might see one spot, but I don't see it. I think it's all about trying to get, 2 defensemen, but really one really, really good one.
Is there, what do you make of the Carolina situation and Mikko Rantanen? Are they going to sign him, or could they swap him, which would be crazy? Because I can't remember the last time a team traded for a big star and then traded him within 6 weeks later.
Yeah, I mean, the owner's the GM. He decides everything that goes on there. He talks to the players. He talks to the coach. He runs that show. And if he wakes up one day and said, screw it, trade him, after offering him 8 years times, let's say $13 million, which I think they would do to keep him. I think they would. I'm sure they've already offered him somewhere around there, whether it's 12-8, 13-2 for 8 years. They want to keep him. They want to sign him. But if he says no, or says, I want to wait, I don't see how you could trade him and get proper value. Maybe you could. Maybe their eyes you could. But and people always say, well, then you lose him for nothing. Well, you don't lose him for nothing. You get $13 million worth of cap space. And then how you use that, that's your trade, your quote unquote trade. Now, again, there's some, you lack control there because you wait for the summer crop of UFAs, but there still will be guys available, and they'll be able to use that money to get really good players. They might be able to use it to get 2 really good players. So you don't lose players for nothing in the NHL and the hard cap world for those teams who especially spend to the cap like Carolina does. So, they can offer a big contract to Jacob Chikrin and get him and maybe another forward. And that's who they get if Rantanen doesn't choose to sign after you use his services, because I'm all about it. And use his services for this postseason run. You haven't even got to a cup final under Brindamore. Why not give that a shot here? And so I think that's what will happen. I would doubt they would flip him, but that owner is unpredictable. You just don't know.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, and because he's what they've lacked. Although now it's a small sample size, but his offensive numbers are down early on, and that's normal. We've seen a lot of guys get traded. It takes a while to find their game, but I think they got to roll the dice. If you acquired him now, you got to try to roll the dice and see what happens. Do you think they go at all and get another goalie, or are they just going to roll the dice again and hope they don't get hurt with Freddie Anderson?
Yeah, I think they're going to roll the dice there. They need a center. I mean, they need another center. Rantanen's not Leon. He's not close to Leon Draisaitl.
Yes.
Not in the same neighborhood. And so they really do need a center. I mean, they've had Kotkaniemi up there playing number 2 center. I mean, he's not a number 2 center. They've tried. They traded Drury, who was a number 3 center, good penalty killer. So that's what they really need. And Rantanen was obviously a great talent, but, he's a winger, especially the older he gets, too. He's going to be even, Colorado used him there occasionally in the middle, but he's not. Yeah. So that's what they really need. So I think they're going to run with the goalies and then try to somehow find a center out there who can play behind Aho.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Now, I get, you could play Aho with Rantanen, but then, you need a second-line center for sure. So I'll be curious. Yep. What about the Boston Bruins, John? It's McAvoy's out here with that infection, kind of an odd one from the injection that he had. But I kind of heard over the weekend. Now maybe I interpreted it wrong, but when you listen to their GM, did you get a sense that he was like, "Hey, Lindholm's done. That they might be a seller here all of a sudden for sure"?
I think so. That's the only. I think everything's got to come together. I think I think it makes sense to be a seller. I think it's right in front of you when you watch them play. I think they'll trade Frederick. I think they'll see if there's a market for Coyle, who has 1 year left. I think they would trade Brendan Carlo, who's a right-handed shot defenseman. The Panthers, other teams would not mind having him. I think he has some value. I think it's time for them to get some capital and try to retool, much like the Capitals did. And when you have Swayman, McAvoy, Pasternak, that's a very good core at each position. Marchand, I think, will stick around in the end for a couple of years as a bridge, but they need to start to get some offensive guys, some high-end offensive guys in some way, whether it's clearing cap room, make it a run at free agency, start to draft some young guys, because they have nothing coming in the minors in terms of high-end top 6 stuff. Maybe some second liners, but I do think now's the time to kind of do that and maybe have like a 3-year plan where maybe we can kind of get in the top 4 of the conference in 3 years. Because right now they are extreme bubble. I would say 8 to 11 more than their top 4.
Before I let you go, John, tough week for Americans when it comes to beloved broadcasters. Mike Lang from the Pittsburgh Penguins just recently passed. And then today, Al Trotwig. Any favorite memories of either one of those two for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Pittsburgh. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio. I was a Bruins fan, so I listened to the Bruins on WBC radio. It came in clear as a bell in Pennsylvania. But Mike Lang was hired at a very young age, and he just kind of made hockey cool in Pittsburgh. He was a different cat. No one sounded like him. So it kind of made the Penguins like this underground kind of like rock band. Like he just gave them a bit of an edge that they otherwise wouldn't have. And Al Trotwig, to me, I didn't get cable television until I was 13 years old when we moved to Ohio, and we got like 3 channels, and one of them was the USA Network. And I could see playoff hockey on my cable television coming in clear as a bell. Compared to what I had with Rabbit Ears, this was like high definition times 10. And Al Trotwig did the pregame, postgame. in between periods. So as a very young age, I remember Al Troutwig with this incredible of hockey games on television, which I didn't grow up with until I was like 13 years old. So, and then of course, when I moved on in the business and got in the business, and he moved to MSG and he did some Olympic stuff as well for NBC. He was just had that voice. And so, yeah, those two guys were definitely part of my hockey formative years as a kid, teenager, and then a young adult.
Great stuff, John. We appreciate it as always. Enjoy the call tomorrow night. Thanks for this.
I appreciate you, Jason.
Have a good one. That's John Buccigross joining us from ESPN. So for those of you who have like to watch it on different channels, you can see the ESPN feed, of course, Tampa and the Oilers tomorrow night. Connor McDavid didn't practice today. I think you're going to see McDavid get a few practices off. Chris Knobloch mentioned this before. The Four Nations. You know what? Fatigue. He just played 2 games and back-to-back. Why does he need to skate today? You know what I mean? Like he played Thursday. He's played more games. It makes sense at this time. Get him some rest, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him do that a few. He'll probably practice the next time because it's McDavid, but he'll want to get a little bit of rest in right now. 2:41. We'll come back. We'll update you on our auction item today. Also, I'll see how your thoughts are for the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate and much, much more on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, oodle, noodle, noods. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 oodle, noodle, nood, oodle, nood, oodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, oodle, noodle, noods. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 oodle, noodle, nood.
Trouble low down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
90 days? You're telling me I can buy a 2024 or 2025 Buick or GMC from Wolf GMC Buick and make no payments for 90 days? Whoa, and you're telling me there's more? It's the final days of GMC's employee pricing on remaining 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons? Clearly now is the time to buy a new vehicle. I'm heading to Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road. It's mere seconds east of the Anthony Henn Day.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Mr. Rooter travels the world.
Buongiorno, Italy. Nothing beats immersing oneself in another culture. Ooh, look at that. What an intricate design. Huh, wow. What a weird way to turn on the shower. OMG, a dedicated porcelain bidet. Do I try it? Well, when in Rome. Oh my, this beats that robot toilet in Japan.
All plumbing roads lead to Mr. Rooter.
You've probably heard the word rehab before, but when GS Construction talks about rehab, we mean bringing aging infrastructure back to life. Water and sewer systems that keep our communities flowing. GS Construction needs skilled pros who know how to get it done safely and efficiently, and that's why we're hiring. If you're a foreman or a pipe layer, apply to a company that's building for Edmonton and area for 2025. Join a team that's as solid as the infrastructure we restore. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join our crew today.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. See, my confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vance Elliott. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvanceelliott.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.247, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having an awesome day. Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50 and you'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. We got lots of texts flying in, 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, how many moves do you think the Oilers are going to make before next Friday? Does this weekend change their views? From Dan, I don't think the weekend will change it. Just let's say the Oilers would have won 2 games. Would the GM say, well, I don't have to add anything? I think the GMs have a bigger picture. They kind of look and say, this is what I think we need. Now, do these 2 games maybe make them take a step back and say, okay, what happened? Possibly. You always want to analyze everything. It's always changing and evolving. It's never just static, right? Could it just be 2 bad games after a 2-week break? Some teams played great, but there's a lot of teams that were brutal defensively coming out of the break. Problem for the Oilers is it was both games. Not good. And like Washington, hey, there's a reason why they're the best team in the league right now. They came in and absolutely waxed 2 teams. So, Edmonton, not great off of breaks. Why? I don't know. Is that a focal point that's a concern? I think it's fair to say, yeah. But like Stan Bowman has been vocal on numerous places saying he doesn't think they're going to upgrade their goalies. Now, maybe he's just saying that publicly because he doesn't want any team that's out there offering him a goalie to think he's desperate. And then they can say, okay, we can gouge you and pay more. So that makes sense. Like if I was a GM 2 weeks before the trade deadline, I wouldn't publicly be outlining what my game plan is. Like I just wouldn't. Like I know fans want to know it, but why would you want your manager to do that? Hey, we need this, this, and this. Every other GM's listening like, haha, they're desperate. I can get an extra for this. I can get an extra for that. I can get an extra for this. I don't think that would be the best course of action. But I do believe that they feel that their goaltending is fine considering some of the options that are available because there's not a lot of options available. Right? I know everybody's like, John Gibson, I love John Gibson. I love John Gibson. And yeah, John Gibson's which John Gibson are you getting? Are you getting the one this year? What about the one in the last 4 years? Right. And then what's the cost going to be? So there's a lot of factors that go into it. I would like to believe that they are fully aware that their forward group isn't that physical. Now, here's the thing. Some teams will put more of an emphasis on having grit, tenacity, a little bit of bite. Some do, some don't. And I think it's a mistake if you undervalue the importance of it. Don't overvalue it. But if you undervalue it, that's going to hurt you in the postseason. And yes, Evander Kane coming back will add to it. That's one player. And I don't know what no one knows today on February 24th how well Evander Kane can play when he returns. Nobody knows that. Okay, it's impossible to know. So you can guess, but you don't know. Like he had dual hernia surgery, right? He had multiple abdominal tears fixed. How do we know how good he's going to be right away? Long-term prognosis, they think it should be good. But how will it be better? How honestly will it be better? Like, will it take a week? Will it take 2 months? I don't think anybody knows. Because remember, player being healthy enough to play doesn't mean player is healthy enough to contribute at the level that you think he's capable of. Two very different things. And to me, that's the challenge. Hey, guys, we've seen the Oilers have stretches like this before, and we know they can rebound. What always bugged me is they always seem to be unprepared after a long break. It's as if no other teams to go through the same break. Frustrating to see the lack of effort and attention to detail from Sugar Sean. I think that's well said, Sugar Sean, and I think it's fair. Right? Other teams had the break. And don't tell me, well, Washington had no one at the Four Nations, so that automatically means they're crisper. Why? Now, if the three players for Canada who are at the Four Nations, if they were the ones making all the errors, well, then that argument would make sense. But that wasn't the case. You had lots of guys who were rested, who didn't go to the Four Nations, and it was ugly defensively for the Oilers. So I'm not sure I can necessarily buy that because Washington didn't have any players at the Four Nations that gave them a huge break. So, hey guys, what are the Oilers going to do if they make the finals and have to play again after a long break? Lost 3 straight last year, and seems like every year McDavid's getting more tired. Notice how he said Washington was running 4 lines. Seems like he believed that's the way to play. Well, hey, running 4 lines means that he's going to play less minutes. You can't have it both ways. You can't have your stars say, I want to play 4 lines, but then I also want to play the same amount of minutes. It doesn't work. So when you have McDavid and Draisaitl, I think it's unrealistic to think that you're going to play them 19 or 20 minutes every night. I don't buy it. I got to look at what was Florida's minutes for Barkov in the Stanley Cup final, right? Maybe even what was it in the playoffs? I got to look it up. Like, was Barkov playing significantly less minutes than? Well, yeah, he didn't play in the. Oh no, let me go to the playoffs. In the playoffs, Barkov played 21-15 for the Florida Panthers, and so Draisaitl played 21-24, but McDavid played more. So he played more than he played basically the same as Draisaitl, but McDavid did play a minute and 45 seconds more per game. Now I have to look how many overtime games that might have affected it, but doesn't look like it for Draisaitl. So I don't know. I don't think you're going to get to a position where you play top guys like Leon Draisaitl playing 21 minutes a night. I don't think that's abnormal at all. So if you want to play McDavid a little bit less, sure, then yes, you're right. You're going to have to play guys more, and you got to find some guys who, if you have bottom 6 guys who don't kill penalties, right? Or do you ask your top unit power play to play a little bit less, right? There's things you have to look at to do it. So we'll see. Hey guys, can anyone explain the benefits of Janmark and Brown? If they're on the ice for PK goals consistently, not saying they're always at fault, but it's certainly becoming their problem from PP. Well, hey, you saw Janmark didn't play yesterday. I think it is a valid point when you say, oh, they're on the penalty kill. Well, yeah, but if you're on the penalty kill and your penalty kill isn't very good, and I'm not saying it's just them, but they're part of the problem, then is it really that valuable? Are they really helping out your team? Hey, we got some guys in the bottom 6. They're penalty killers. How's your penalty kill? Well, it's not very good, but we got penalty killers. Well, what does that mean? Like, look on the season. The Oilers' penalty kill ranks 26th. 26th. Now, you can go and pick certain points because, well, this time of year they had a slow start. I don't care. Let's just go and what are they since January 1st on the PK? If I look it up quickly, the orders on the PK since January 1st. Oh my God, it's even worse. They're 30th. So they had that terrible start in October, but now they're 30th since January 1st. I'm sorry. It's a valid point, man. You can't have guys, with their penalty killers and it ain't working. So is the system at fault? Are the players at fault? Is it a combination of both? But it's definitely something to look at because their PK is leaking right now. 68% since January 1st. 30th in the league. It's not good enough at all. Hey, boys, I'm counting on Savoie to be a great addition. If I was a GM and could only make one move, I would be finding a way to acquire Jamie Oleksiak from Dallas. Or no, not Dallas. Sorry, he's in Seattle, of course. Seattle's an interesting team for me, right? Oleksiak's got 1 year left. The thing about Oleksiak is he doesn't really play the right side. And you've got Ekholm, Nurse, and Kulak. Now, if you're going to move Kulak to the right side, okay, you could do it. But then where's Oleksiak? Is he going to play in your third pairing? Where's he going to play it? Now, if Jamie Oleksiak shot right, we'd have a whole different conversation. Because, I like his size. I like a lot of things about him. But, or would you move him straight ahead for Kulak? Possibility. I like Kulak, and especially Brett Kulak in the postseason. That's Brett Kulak's a player who has shown now every year in the playoffs, he's been very good. Really good. So I can see how you say, you know what, this guy's shown year after year that he elevates in the playoffs. He's been pretty good in the regular season, but he elevates in the playoffs. That does matter to me. When you've done it, if you do it just once, that's once. Doing it more, we'll see. Hey, guys, why is Knobloch so excited to mix the D lines but never touches the D pairings? Ekholm and Bouchard are being terrible, yet everything stays the same. What gives from DS? Well, he did actually change the D pairs outside of them, right? Nurse went with Emberson, and you had Klingberg with Kulak last game. But it's a valid question. Now, obviously he's in conjunction with Paul Coffey. Paul Coffey runs the blue line. But the head coach obviously has a say, and that's something that he could do it. So now I do know Oleksiak can play the right side a bit. Doesn't play it a ton, but he can. So that it's a possibility. Now, what's it going to cost you? He's got a year left on his deal, which I like. I don't love just pure rentals. You can make it every now and then for sure. If you're confident, you can resign them. But anytime, if I'm going to give up a high pick, I would like the guy guaranteed for at least 2 playoff runs. So, Oleksiak maybe. I'm fascinated to see what Stan Bowman does. Because, Oleksiak covers a few boxes. Adds a little bit more grit and toughness, which I think the Oilers need. I think the Oilers have too many games where they lack emotion. And there are certain guys who can elevate your emotion across your team. Physically, verbally, gamesmanship-wise, different areas. And they don't have enough of them right now. I think that's something that's lacking. And if I'm the GM, I got to address it. Because come playoff time, I think it matters more. Now, you can say that we got a bunch of guys that come playoff time, they'll play a little bit more that way. Okay, but how much more? Is Jeff Skinner going to do it? Connor Brown definitely won't. Right? Is Matthias Janmark going to do it? Who are these guys that are suddenly going to really elevate? Now, if Kane gets in the lineup, he will. I have no question about it. But after that, I'm not sold they have a lot of them, to be completely honest. I'm not sold they do. So that's something that I think if I'm Stan Bowman, I'm looking at it. Hey, Gregor, problem is Bouchard would be even more exposed if they took it off the Ekholm pairing. From Rage Texter. Well, here's the thing about Evan Bouchard. When I look at the plays where he's making mistakes lately, it's not about defensive positioning or bad reads. It's usually coming when he has the puck on his stick and he's not making a play, which to me, Ekholm has no impact on those. Right? Evan Bouchard's best strength, what he got drafted for, was his puck skills, his ability to make plays with the puck. And he could still do it. The Philly game, he had the brutal giveaway on their first goal. Terrible. Just threw that soft pizza up the middle. And then 3 shifts later, he makes an unreal play in the defensive zone and just dances around a guy. And I'm like, jeez. Not many guys have the confidence to make that play. And so he has the skill, but the fact is his passing lately and some of his choices with the puck have just been egregious. So to me, it's more between the ears for Bouchard, because that's not a skill that he just all of a sudden at his young age, oh, Evan Bouchard can't pass the puck. I'll never buy it. I don't buy it. If he was 38 and was slowing down and now he couldn't create as much space and so four checkers were on him quickly, that'd be a different conversation. But that's not what I'm seeing in Evan Bouchard's game. I'm seeing Evan Bouchard, the plays he normally makes, not making. I haven't seen Evan Bouchard really give up goals where people are like, oh my God, he didn't battle hard. Oh, he just left the guy wide open. No, like look at the weekend goals that he was on for. Puck on a stick, giveaway, direct, leads to a goal. Right? Like go back to the Colorado game. Backhand pass, puck on a stick, lazy, back intercepted, Makar scores. Right? Puck on a stick, that should be the strength of Bouchard. And right now it isn't. But I think that's the easy, like if you told me, okay, Bouchard is making all these mistakes with the puck or is making all these mistakes without the puck, I'd be more concerned if it was the latter. And it isn't right now. So I think they can fix it. Hey, Greg's Brandon Carlo's the guy I want. Oof, buddy, I've been mentioning that, Sean. I would agree wholeheartedly. That'd be like if the Boston Bruins are serious about it, and sometimes you can get a team like, look at Nashville when they traded Ekholm. Like you look back and be like, why would you do that? They got Tyson Barrie and, a young player and a pick. Okay. But then they went out and like within a year and a half signed lots of other guys. Like, I don't even know what direction they're going. So would Boston consider moving Brandon Carlo? You better be on the phone if you're Stan Bowman. Now, I know Stan Bowman, and he's calling every GM. You'd be foolish not to, especially 11 days away from the trade deadline. But if there's a chance that Brandon Carlo's there, I wholeheartedly will agree with you. That would be a great option to get. 302, let's get to the Command of Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring HVAC installers and plumbers, competitive wages, hiring bonus for the right candidate. You also get RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply today at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL. 2 games on the schedule at 5:30. Got the Jets taking on the Sharks, and at 8:30, the Golden Knights head to Los Angeles to meet the Kings. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has upheld the suspension that was handed to Minnesota Wild forward Ryan Hartman for roughing Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators on February 1st, but he did reduce the length from 10 to 8 games. Bettman heard Hartman's appeal of the original decision, assessed February 3rd at a hearing on February 14th. Hartman now eligible to return for the Wild against the Kraken on March 4th. In the association tonight, you've got the Clippers taking on the Pistons, Pacers and Nuggets. Bulls in Philly, Nets travel to Washington. Hawks host the Heat. Timberwolves taking on the Thunder. Jazz up against the Blazers, and the Hornets meet the Kings. And sad news from the baseball world is Cleveland Guardians owner Larry Dolan passed away today. He purchased the team in 2000. They went to 3 playoff appearances and reached the World Series in 2016 where they lost the Cubs in 7 games. He was 94 years old. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by our co-host and former NHLer Sean Brown, also Sportsnet Oilers host Gene Principe, and we'll hear from Liam Troy from the Edmonton Fire Rescue Services. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app. So you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches. We provide our customers with the safest and most reliable ground transportation. Our seatbelt-equipped buses have become the preferred carrier for many local sports teams, tours, corporate outings, and other various travel across Western Canada. For more information and to request a quote, contact Ted Nakamura at 780-940-0880 or visit silentrides.ca.
Edmonton's premium live music and party venue is
On the Rocks.
Check out Bingo Tunes on Monday. Perform on the best stage in town with karaoke on Wednesdays. Learn how to salsa with Salsa Rocks on Thursdays. And every weekend, OTR goes live.
With your favorite bands on the OTR stage and DJ Kenny K.
For everything that's going on at On the Rocks, give us a follow.
Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
At On the Rocks, EDM.
Eat well, party hard.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks.
On the Rocks. Open every day till 2 a.m.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com. Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Centre's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocentre.com today.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only at participating McDonald's in Canada.
We celebrated in 72. And we did it again in 2010. Now, Team Canada faces an unprecedented trade war from the United States. Your buying power is our power play. Look for Made in Canada and choose Canadian products at the store. Shop at businesses who provide jobs for your friends and neighbors. Rediscover the beauty of Canada on your next vacation. We have always been Team Canada. This message from Stingray Radio, Canada's largest independent radio broadcaster, proudly serving Canadian communities from coast to coast.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Japa is digging deep on their 50-year history of supporting Alberta's construction industry with their line of special edition blackout excavators. Visit japamachinery.com for all the details.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 3 o'clock, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Orders Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. The Gregor Show, presented by playalberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50 and get a free $50 play at playalberta.ca. Also today, we are teaming up with the Edmonton Firefighters. Liam's going to join us later on this hour, give us an update from the Rooftop. They do this every year. It's fantastic what they do. You know, they raise money for muscular dystrophy. And to help it out, we have a very unique, this is something you can't go out and buy. It's absolutely impossible because you got to get a lot of clearance. Can't just have average Connor, average Joe show up at the fire hall and have dinner. But that's exactly what you're going to have. So you're going to get a limo. It's for 6 people. So it's dinner for 6. A limo picks you up. So you get 5-star service. You will be taken to the flagship fire station #1. And there you're going to have a meal, which is prepared by Edmonton's own 5-star chef, Andrew Fung. Fantastic. Anybody who knows food in town knows Andrew. Very good chef. Also, you're going to have 12 of Edmonton's hardest working firefighters and around having dinner with you. So you can get all, ask lots of questions, find out some stuff. You're going to get a tour of the hall. You can ride around. Hey, no, maybe, I don't know. Will they let you pull the siren? We'll see. We'll find out from Liam what happened. So Jason opened up the bidding at 500, and now Paul came in at 700. So that's a bargain, guys. Think about dinner for 6 people. What are you going to pay? So let's get this up. It's for Muscular Dystrophy. You got the limo. You have the Fire Hall tour, which is something you can't just randomly go and get. So 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 to get in on this. So that sounds like a great evening. And oh, by the way, it is a designated evening, just so you know. So look at your calendar, gentlemen. We both know that you have never planned this far ahead ever for a dinner. Okay. But April 28th, I got to look. What day of the week is April 28th? That is, it's a Monday night. All right. So it's a Monday after the weekend. It's not taking up one of your Fridays or Saturdays, which is great. So the limo will pick you up anywhere between 6 and 6:30, depending on how close your place is to the fire hall. And then away you go. It'll be a great time. So 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. And you know what? I'm going to go 900 on this. I've always wanted to do the fire hall tour, so I'm up to 900 myself. So there we go. This for 6 people. Can't have dinner for 6 for what? Plus the limo, everything else, I'm in. So I got it up to 900. 833-401-1440. Let's welcome into the show former NHLer Sean Brown, our regular Monday contributor. Brownie, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Yeah, a little different here being from home, but yeah, nice. It's a beautiful day. It'd be nice to own a car wash in this type of weather here.
Is that a signed entire team New Jersey Devils jersey behind you? What is that?
Yeah, I collected, well, as you know, I collected a lot of different things, but I always thought it was kind of cool to collect a jersey from all the teams that I played on and get a signed jersey from all of them. So yeah, I got a few of them up here. You can't see, but there's a Boston one.
Yeah. You have an Oiler one, I would assume.
You know what? I don't know where my Oiler one is. I had one. It's probably at my brother's house. But
well,
I do.
That's the team you played the longest with.
I know. I do have one. It's just not up. It's
so now because you played with the Oilers, well, for 4 full seasons, you know, you're up and down the first few years as most young guys do. Do you have one from each of like 99, 2000, 2001, or 2? Did you only get one from the Oilers?
No, I actually have 2.
Okay.
You know, the jerseys are kind of it wasn't, you know, it wasn't exactly, I don't want to say easy, but it wasn't hard to get it. It wasn't, you know, I think at the end of the year, Barry, especially after my first year, it was something that I don't remember exactly if I asked for it or not, but, you know, Barry gave it to me. The one jersey that I actually don't have that I'd like to have is my Boston one. You know, when you get traded and things happen so quickly,
right?
You don't really think about asking for your jersey.
So
I wind up getting, what's that?
So you never had your like
I
brown Boston?
I don't have a Boston jersey. I actually just, when I was back in Ontario, I got a, you know, being a first round pick, I got a Boston Bruins jersey to go on stage. And I was always wondering where it went. And I was at my brother's house, and we were kind of going through a bunch of different things, and he had it. So it's kind of nice. I got that jersey back. But yeah, you know what? I wind up getting, I never had my Vancouver jersey either until, you know, years back. I was at Rexall walking around at the bottom, and I ran into one of the trainers, and he's like, "Hey, do you want your Vancouver jersey?" And I was like, this was years after. And I would like, I'd love to have it. And so he's like, "Give me your address and I'll send it to you." So I wind up getting my,
so he just kept all the jerseys from guys who played for the team, kept them like in some closet somewhere.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I've never asked, but I do know Dwayne Tomko, who works for the Oilers, and he does a lot of their locker room sale and stuff, right? So, you know, after I guess Langer and the training staff are done with a lot of the equipment, whether it's sticks, skates, or whatever, it trickles its way down to Dwayne, and he's got a little storage area full of like he doesn't get rid of anything. You know, because I think, you know, whether he auctions it off or it's the locker room sale, they find a way to kind of maybe recoup some of the money that they spent. I've actually went in there before because I'm good friends with them, and I wind up getting my Hamilton Bulldogs team photo from him. And that was a team photo that I never had. And he wound up having it for whatever reason in his storage locker. And I'm not sure what he was going to do with it, because I do remember it being on the wall when I played in the American Hockey League in Hamilton. And somehow he wind up getting it because, they wind up, the team wind up shifting over to, I think, who was it? Montreal and Tampa Bay,
Yes.
I think it was shared. Yeah. So I imagine everything on the wall and everything that was Oilers, it found its way back to Dwayne and his little, in his area at the bottom of Rogers there.
Looking at the Oilers, it was a pretty rough weekend, Brownie. If there was a video room, might have been tough, I would think, for the Oilers, because there was some ghastly mistakes by the entire team. But I want to talk specifically about the defenseman, because obviously you played D for a long time. And Evan Bouchard's mistakes, Brownie, aren't from, missing your assignment in front of the net. It's puck on a stick, and, he's serving up pizza. And it's happened too often. And now you're a guy who, not every pass is going to be completed when you touch the puck as much. So I understand that. But lately it seems like when he makes the errors, they're 10-bell errors on plays. You're like, well, he shouldn't make that. The Makar one against Colorado, the two against Philadelphia. So what do you think, Paul Coffey? What are you seeing in Bouchard's game right now? How do you clean up the one element that actually is normally his best element, which is moving the puck?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, when you think about all the teams and where they're at this point in the season, the details, the execution, the urgency in everyone's game, and it doesn't matter whether you're at the top of the standings or the bottom of the standings, right? Everyone's trying to amp their game up for a number of different reasons. And as it gets faster and those details become more important, I agree with you. I mean, his biggest strength is his poise and his calmness and his ability to make plays, and sometimes to make plays out of nothing. And, if you look at it, it comes across a little bit casual at times. If you look at the one turnover where, it was off the face off, you got the wingers and the centerman, and everyone's driving out, and you're going to flip it out in the neutral zone, and it turns into a foot race. He's just a half a second, late on actually getting that puck off of his stick and getting it out. The defender, the Philadelphia defender, did a super job of getting, stick on puck and disrupting it enough to create the turnover, which turned into the goal. So, it's hard because the poise and the confidence he plays with the puck is his strength, and that's why we love him, and that's why he's playing with the best player in the world, because there's not many guys that can make the plays that he makes to get the puck in Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl in the skilled player's hands at the right time. But that casualness right now is something that's hurting his game. And it's probably, to be honest with you, a little bit in his ears, right? You can see there's a little bit of frustration now. You're starting to see when he makes a mistake, the body language. I mean, he knows it, obviously. There's a little bit of frustration in his game, and I'm assuming within himself, but I don't know if it's definitely not something that it's not great. I think having, Paul Coffey and his experience and the fact that they're very similar, and every athlete, whether you're an elite athlete or an average athlete, has went through the mental side and the grind of the game. And so having that experience that Paul has, of that, I'm sure that calmness, right? Of just being like, hey man, you know what? Like, now's not a time to be beating yourself up. Right. And just kind of getting the belief back in him, in his game. And I don't know if it's fluffing him up, but athletes need this, whether they're NHL superstars or minor hockey players. But yeah, it's just right now everything's happening a little bit quick, and he's a little slow and a little delayed. And sometimes even the best players, I guess, have to simplify their game a little bit until they can kind of get the ball rolling.
Yeah, well, and the other thing is the Oilers historically coming out of breaks haven't been good. So I don't know what that is. I can't buy it. Well, McDavid played so what? He's one guy. Like if McDavid looked fatigued and the rest of the team looked sharp, then I'd buy the argument. But McDavid's playing has no bearing on all of the defensive miscues that they made as a group in that game, Brownie. And sometimes, you know what? Getting your rear end handed to you sometimes is a better way to learn than, you lose 4-3 and you think you play. Well, geez, we didn't play that bad. It was only 4-3. I'm sure you've been in games where you played terrible, but you didn't lose 7-3. So I think sometimes it's easier to get the tension of your team by doing it. Would you split up Bouchard and Ekholm at this point and try something different for a game or two?
Yeah, I mean, if to touch on your point, it is concerning the fact that every time they go on a break, they're a little bit slow to get going. What concerns me is that are we going to get to the point where McDavid is not only skilling his way around the ice, but now he's the physical guy that's playing. Yes. Getting in there and he's gritty and he's finishing his trek because he's going to do that, right? We all know that this is temporary and he's going to will his way and everyone else's way and he's going to drag him in the fight. The concerning thing for me is where's the rest of the guys? Where's the supporting cast? Those guys have to get to another level where we're not just sitting here waiting for Connor McDavid to score a highlight goal and to go blow someone up and show some emotion before other guys start showing some emotion as well, right? I mean, they're the best players. They're going to do their thing. But I would love to see, some of these other guys. This is a real opportunity for Podkolzin and Janmark, Kapanen, Henrique. We've seen Perry do it at different times throughout the season, right? But I would like to see some other guys really take advantage of this opportunity because the season is full of opportunities. Right at different times for different reasons. And I think, we're going to see McDavid, get fed up and we know what he's going to do. I would like to see some other guys beat him to it. As far as getting back to Ekholm and Bouchard, the trade deadline's coming up. Have they been apart? I don't know. I don't know how much they've been apart. I don't remember them being apart. I don't know if it's the worst thing to see, right? As the trade deadline to maybe see what do you got with, Emberson? What do the newly acquired Klimberg, maybe putting him in a different situation, a different role. How do you know what you're going to do as far as a trade or who you're going to bring in or bring out if you don't have the full picture and understanding what maybe you have? So giving a couple guys a different look and a different feel might not be a bad thing at this time.
Yeah, at times you gotta move things around and see where it goes. But I don't think it can hurt at this point. They did switch the second and third pairs for sure. But maybe you can say, hey, Bouchard, you can play away from Ekholm and still be fine, right? You could play with Nurse. Heck, you could play with Brett Kulak if they wanted to try something, if they really want to. So, to me, it's if it continues at some point, you have to make a change.
And it's never bad. Like I said, that different situations provide different opportunities, right? And I think it's all in how a coach or a D coach maybe sells this. If there is a move, it's like, hey, you know what? We feel like we can move you because we feel like you can add this value, and we believe in this side of your game and this player's game, and overall the team would benefit from this. So I always found that was probably. When I thinking back to when I played and Mac T, I felt was really good. Mac T was really good at, communicating and finding a way to make you feel, as much as he might be challenging you or taking an opportunity away, he had a real genuine way of making you feel good about it. I mean, there wasn't a time, at that time, there was different times where I was being sent down to the minors. And I remember having conversations with him as he's throwing flowers on my grave and sending me to the minors that I was like, you know what? As I'm in my cab ride to the airport, I'm like, he might just call me and say I've made a mistake. He just had that ability to just be like, hey, make you feel good in the moment. Meanwhile, I'm getting sent down to the minors, right? So I think a lot of a good coach, and there's a lot of them, in the NHL, and we got to listen to in the Four Nations, a lot of them speak. I think it's the way they communicate and what they sell the opportunity as.
Jason Gregor, Sean Brown with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll take a quick break. We'll return. We got more hockey talk to get to. We'll go to Tampa Bay, find out the Oilers. McDavid didn't skate, but I don't think it's a big deal. Also, Liam Troy will join us, talk a little bit of rooftop shenanigans next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble!
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle noodle at oodlenoodle.ca. So stay on your couch all day and order oodlenoodle.ca. Oodle noodle.
Attention drivers, it's the Midwinter Tire Clearance Sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details.
At Papa John's, we're not just in the business of making better pizza. We're in the business of making everything better. Ambitious? Perhaps. Delicious? You better believe it. Monday? Make it a pizza party. Sick of parenting? Get Papa John's on dinner duty. Date night? We've got the recipe for romance. With our never frozen dough and always fresh toppings, Papa John's is committed to making it all better. Get better today at papajohns.ca or visit any of our 50-plus locations across Alberta. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously... The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles, Culligan.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Make you proud. Ooh, baby, baby. Please don't leave me, girl.
3:27. Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Sean Brown, Connor Halley with you on a lovely Monday afternoon. Oilers are in Tampa to take on the Lightning tomorrow, Florida Thursday, and then Carolina on Saturdays. They wrap up their road trip. And heck, right now, if they could go somehow find just to go 500, which means they'd have to go 2-0-1 on these next three games, that'd be considered a real big win because the first two games were ugly with a capital U. There was very little pretty about those games. Not much at all. Let's get to the oil report brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. And you know what's pretty? Some of the deals they got right now. You can get lease for 1.49% and save an additional $4,500 off an XC90 plug-in hybrid right now at Volvo Cars Edmonton, 13-time winner of excellence in sales and service. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com as we go to Tampa Bay. Gene Principe joins us. And Gino, I guess let's start. People who are Oiler fans are concerned. And hey, I get it after a weekend like that. But Connor McDavid not practicing, but that's more just rest from Four Nations than anything else.
Yeah. Hey, Sean and Jason. Yeah, for sure. When Connor,
doesn't skate, everyone's like, what's going on? Is something wrong? As you know, Josh Morrissey and Cale Makar, a couple of players that missed games at the Four Nations for Canada. Is he sick? There's always these conspiracy theories, but it is a maintenance day, and it was really team initiated, oriented. It was, I had a chance to talk to Chris today, and he mentioned it, and then you're always kind of, because I don't think Connor would ever say, "Hey, coach, I need the day off." I don't think he's made up that way. But when you think that the players had, they probably had about 10 days off approximately, which is a heck of a long time at this point in the season, where Connor probably had 2, and even those 2, he was either traveling, getting over the celebration of winning the Four Nations. And I think you guys would agree that the games were not like an October game or like a November or December or January. They were more like a April, May, June game. So for sure, it was just a chance to rest. And I think even Connor agreed that he could use a day. Sometimes you got to be talked into it because he just wants to be one of the guys. And I think that goes back to his leadership. I don't think he ever wants, not that anyone would think this way, that he was taking an easier way out or just, why isn't he on the ice? I mean, nobody would think that for sure. But he just sometimes almost needs to be told, no, today you're staying off the ice. And he agreed. And I think that'll show moving forward that he continues to get some time off after having so little of it over the last couple of weeks.
When you look at the Oilers, and obviously it was a brutal weekend defensively, and Chris Knobloch probably as close as he ever come to calling out his team after the game. Hey, there's lots of guys in there who need to be better. Where does it start, Gina? What did the coach say? Like, hey, I know coach isn't going to jump off the bridge because it's 2 games, but it's really 3 games. They weren't very good defensively against Colorado before the break. Had some leaky games against St. Louis and Chicago. This is not just 2 games. It's been a lot longer, and really just because the 2-week break, it's stretched out for a longer period of time with fewer games.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, it was kind of strange on Sunday because you're watching the process of history here with Alexander Ovechkin, and you can't. It's hard to not be enamored with who he is. I mean, I'm not sure that there's anybody who's a hockey fan that would dislike Alex for what he does on the ice. I mean, he's physical, he's strong, he shows up, he's durable. He has a wicked shot. I mean, in talking to like Darnell Nurse, when I was asking him about Ovechkin, he's like, well, he's one of one. Like there's nobody like him. In some ways, ever in the game. Wayne was different, right? Wayne's skill set and his success was built in a different way than Alex. So Sundays I could kind of go, okay, they got rolling. It's a great team. They're number 1. I'm not saying an excuse, but I could easier digest it if Saturday hadn't happened. And I think that you're right. I think Chris, after the game against Washington, sort of he's definitely a player's coach when it comes to not naming names or staying in the lane of protecting his players and not calling them out. But you could see he was frustrated. And the Philly game, he said puck management was atrocious. The Washington game, he said they were slow. I mean, he just felt like they were just slow in how they handled the game. And so today, it wasn't a long practice, 40, 45 minutes, I would say. Normally on back-to-backs, and Sean, you would know this from living it, especially if they're in the evening. Very unlikely the Oilers would have skated today, but day games without any morning skates and getting in and into their hotel rooms by 9 p.m. last night, and considering the results, it was kind of a must practice, but it was fast. I mean, they were moving, they were getting after it. It wasn't about so much how long they skated, because they've got 3 more tough games on this road trip. So it was about just getting the feet moving. And sometimes, as easy as it is, I know sometimes when you're either playing or you're coaching kids or adults, you're like, come on, move your feet. And I think that was sort of the theme of the practice. Like, come on, guys, we got to get moving, because when we do, we're obviously one of the elite teams. But when we don't, he kind of feels like they've been giving teams time to assess, which is a neat word, what they can do when they have the puck. And normally, if you have time to assess what you can do, then you're not playing as fast, as physical, as tight as your club would like. And I think that was kind of the message he tried to pass on today in practice.
Brownie? Brownie, you're muted. There you go.
Oh, God. Oh, good now?
Yeah.
Okay. Gene, you've been with the team for a while through the different highs and different lows. As a fan, we kind of ride the wave of each win and each loss. Can you maybe just talk about, the morale and how the team is feeling and kind of the vibe you're getting around the team right now?
Yeah, great question, Brownie, because you've been in those situations. And one of the things, I have the pleasure and the privilege and the benefit of traveling with the team. And ever since I started in '98 with what's once was called 8 Channel, I always wondered what's the right amount of time to deal with a loss and celebrate a win. I remember the previous coach, Jay Woodcroft, would often say after a game, and Jason, you heard it many times, you too, Sean, it was kind of like you get 10 minutes. After the game, you get in the room, you enjoy it for a bit, and then it's onward and forward. And I don't think it's any different, whether Jay's a coach or Chris. Like, you enjoy it for a bit, you commiserate for a bit, and then you get going. I thought Connor, who, like, he's had such a run here. It's been amazing. And talking to some of his Four Nations face-off teammates with Canada today, just glowing reviews about Connor and his humility and his humbleness and his work ethic. It's just like, I'm not Brian and Kelly McDavid for sure, but it's neat to hear these things about someone who we've watched grow up in front of us. But I think they're okay. Like Sean, I think they're fine. They don't like the way they've come out of the break. And Jason mentioned it prior to the break, there was a loss against Colorado and maybe not quite the kind of game they wanted to play. This seems to be a little bit of a, out of the Christmas break, they came out a bit slow as well in a couple of games and back-to-back games versus LA and Anaheim. And now we've seen it here with Philadelphia and Washington. And so I'm not concerned about them, but what I do think is that second loss kind of hammered home the point, like, listen, this isn't good enough. A one-off against Philly, okay, even though a lower scoring team, but they do have some offensive talent. So, it's easy to pinpoint goalies, and that's certainly not what Chris Knobloch has done. So I think they're fine, but I thought McDavid was quite funny, yesterday in a not so funny moment, when he was asked by Tony Brar of Oilers TV, what do you need to fix? Everything. And then he finished in his interview, goes, wasn't that a great interview? And he kind of smirked, like he realized that it, in a way it wasn't a great interview because it wasn't very long and his answers weren't very long, but it was to the point, like everything. Like we just need to be better everywhere. And it reminds me a little bit of the start of the season a bit, where it just seemed like things were not going right. If they got enough of one thing, they didn't get enough of another. The special teams here, that's the power play got a quick goal yesterday, and I thought, here we go. But then Ovechkin and company got up and running, and I have to say that building was just kind of, lit. It reminded me of when Connor was reaching 50 and then 64 goals, or when Connor was going after 100 assists. It just becomes such a moment of entertainment more than just sport, bigger than that.
Yeah.
It's neat, and it's great that Wayne has been nothing but supportive of Ovechkin, both privately when I've had an opportunity either to speak with him or some people have spoken to him, and certainly publicly, he's all about pushing the game forward. Like he broke Gordy's records. Alex is set to break his. So it's a tough road trip. Listen, Stanley Cup rematch on the way. Tampa's won 5 in a row. Carolina's not an easy team. So I agree with you, Jay. I mean, 2-0-1, you get home. You've got Anaheim, Montreal, and I think Dallas when you get back. So, and we're into March then, right? So now we know this stuff is starting to get for real because you're into the last full month of the regular season.
Gene Principe from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Yeah, they They got to play better. Like, they were so bad defensively. Has Knobloch talked? Did anybody ask him, like, he's switched up his top lines. He's looking for offense. The Ekholm-Bouchard pairing, and really more like Bouchard has just struggled with his puck decisions more than the normal. Is there any time? I know they didn't change him up. He kept Nurse with Emberson, and he had Kulak with Klingberg again. Is there any conversation at all about him trying to split up the Ekholm-Bouchard pair to see if that ignites him?
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. I can't remember what game it was where we were sort of expecting. It was one of those games, I think was a 5 or maybe a 6 o'clock start in Edmonton, so there wasn't a full morning skate. And then we came out and went, whoa, like, everything's different. And everything was different really with the lines. Anyways, I think they were all 4 new lines yesterday. Again, it's no morning skate, the 11 a.m. start in oil country, 1 o'clock out east. And you kind of get there and it's like, boom, it was like a brownie punch in the face. Like, boom, okay, let's get this game started and going, and it was like, whoa, what a big difference. So I think so that's on the table for them. And, I look at Troy Stetcher and, you're not taking out Ekholm. You're not taking out Nurse. I don't think you're taking. I mean, we always sort of defer to Emerson as sort of the guy to take out just because he's new. And I don't know if that's fair, but that's just kind of the way it normally is. But Stetcher might give you a little bit of something different. But I would believe, Jason, that they're looking from within right now to try and find the right combo the within those 6 defensemen to see. I thought Klingberg is coming along quite nicely thanks to the Oil Kings, as I heard you first report and mention that he was going to be skating with them. I think that's been a big help, and he's getting there. And I think Matthias is, he's such a strong player. And coming off what he went through as well through the Four Nations face-off, he and Arvidsson are supposed to start getting a little bit of a break too on some days where maybe even if the team is skating, they won't.
Okay.
So they've got it there. I think they've got the group. It's just finding the right match. And honestly, those goals against, that's where you start, right? Because you come in, and I watched the Lightning skate today, and I see Kucherov, and I see some of the talent they have with Hedman and Braden Point, and let's not forget Morinville's favorite son, Brandon Hagel, is a pretty good player. And they've got a really good team, and they're on a roll right now. So tomorrow's another tough one, but I wouldn't expect it'll be what we've seen so far on this return from the break regarding the goals allowed.
Gino, get some sunscreen on, enjoy the heat, and we will watch you on the broadcast tomorrow.
I always do, or at least I always try. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks,
Sean.
It's Gene Principe from Rogers Sportsnet. And now the lines were different, although you had Podkolzin with Draisaitl and Savoie again today. That I don't think that's any surprise. I honestly think I don't think Matt Savoie's shown you anything why he shouldn't get there a little bit longer. You had Skinner with Hyman in the middle and Arvidsson. Obviously, Zach Hyman isn't playing center. So one of Skinner or Arvidsson isn't going to be on that line. McDavid will slide in. They had Nugent Hopkins with Brown and Janmark, and then Henrique with Kapanen and Perry. So Janmark had missed a game. I don't know if he'll miss 2. I guess it's possible. We'll see if they take Savoie's not coming out. For me, I don't think there's any chance. I don't think they're going to call him up and then healthy scratch him. I don't think there's any reason to. Like, he's been fine in his 2 games. I actually thought he's had a lot of more jump than some other guys. So I would play him with Draisaitl, and I wrote the article, and you can go read it at OilersNation.com today. And it broke down. The Oilers are a team that went to the Stanley Cup final. They're a good team. But you always look to get younger. And there's a team who went to consecutive Stanley Cups. They just happened to win them. But in between winning one and then going for the next one, they too incorporated a young player into their roster. Could Matt Savoie have a similar path? We'll discuss that. When we return, we'll have a little bit of fun talking about a very unique fundraiser on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling jingle auditions, take one for Gene Principe. Are you ready, Gene?
Ready. I'm not just here to make a thermo a couple of bucks. I'd never just microphone it in.
Take one.
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
Nice.
Boom. I'm a musical genius.
Legacy's going to love this for furnace season.
I couldn't love it. Amore. With no payments and no interest for 1 year.
Are you always like this?
Yep, unlike a furnace, I have no filter.
Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
At Papa John's, we're not just in the business of making better pizza. We're in the business of making everything better. Ambitious? Perhaps. Delicious? You better believe it. Monday? Make it a pizza party. Sick of parenting? Get Papa John's on dinner duty. Date night? We've got the recipe for romance. With our never frozen dough and always fresh toppings, Papa John's is committed to making it all better. Get better today at papajohns.ca or visit any of our 50-plus locations across Alberta. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Do it, do it, do it. Your vehicle is a big investment. Protected at Hughes Car Wash. We use only clean, fresh water and the highest quality car wash soap. Hughes Car Wash, the car wash pros. Do it, do it, do it. Do it at Hughes Car Wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only at participating McDonald's in Canada.
I've lost all power. The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Feeding a crowd, get the triple play. 3 large specialty or 5 topping pizzas for only $54 when you use promo code 3play at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Hollywood dream teams, yes, that thing's trash queens. Save the blessing for the final ring. Amen. Take a ride on the wild side. Wild side. I carry my crucifix under my necklace. Forward my bed to be.
3:49. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. It is the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And going on right now here in Edmonton. This is an annual event. It's fantastic. It's a great fundraiser. Some years they get a little bit luckier than others due to the weather. Although this year, though, it's different because there's no tents or heaters for the 5 firefighters who are currently living on the rooftop of Hall Number 2. And this is the big nationwide charity fundraiser in conjunction with Muscular Dystrophy that the Edmonton firefighters do. And to talk about all of it, kind of where they're at, how you can help out, and more, we are joined now by Liam Troy. Liam, how you doing, my man?
Gregor, I'm doing good, man. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing good up here. Like you said, yeah, the weather's a little different than last week, but you know what? We're making the best of it, and we're trying to, suffer as much as we can up here or struggle. That's kind of the name of the game. So yeah, we've started this year with no camping equipment, and we're hoping the generosity of our fine citizens in Edmonton here and maybe some private donors will get us up to our goal for the year here.
So now, because usually in the past you would have some, you'd be able to cook your food and whatever. So now I see a dead tree behind you. You guys getting branches and rubbing it together to start a fire? What are you doing for food?
No, we're braving the elements here right now. We just got ourselves some chairs and a couple snacks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Boys are having a snowball fight in the back here.
Okay.
Trying to stay entertained.
Yeah, working hard. I know a few firefighters, so I know the work ethic on certain times of the day, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we work hard, and we do in fact play hard as well, which is an important part of our lives.
So tell us a little bit about now. How many years have you done this? And there's 5 guys. So you stay up now. Do all 5 have to stay up there the whole time, or are you working shifts? How does it work?
Yeah, so this is my 3rd year doing this. There's one other gentleman, this is Carter, that's his 2nd year, and then the other gentleman, it's their first year doing it. So we've been working as a fire department with Muscular Dystrophy since 1971. Okay. The partnership started in 1954 in Canada, so we're at our 70th anniversary for working with Muscular Dystrophy. It's very much so a charity that's near and dear to our hearts. As far as like what I've seen when I'm up here, I've seen a lot of community coming together and rallying behind a great cause, whether that's people from the public, our firefighters themselves, our leadership team, our union. It's just endless. And then, fantastic people from our Muscular Dystrophy community come to join us as well for a visit. And usually we have nice warm tents for everyone to hang out in, but instead we're going to do kind of a wrap-up pizza party for all the families at the end that can join us. And then we have had some Muscular Dystrophy families join us throughout the day as well. We just have a member go down and hang out with them on the bay floor for a little while and say hello and just make sure they feel welcome here, because the fire hall is ultimately a place for family and a place for community.
Now, this year, you're not doing it with like tents or anything. So what's the biggest challenge? Like, I know today everyone's like, hey, it's not that bad, but still you're out there. You get overnight and it's still minus degrees and stuff. So what's been the biggest challenge? And do you guys have like a goal? If you reach a certain amount, do you then get one tent or anything as it builds? How does it work?
That's absolutely right. So we started at $0, and our goal is to get to 60,000 over the time of our rooftop camp out here. Okay. We have monetary milestones that will give us pieces of equipment along the way. So currently right now, as far as fundraising goes, we're sitting at about $15,000, which is fantastic. $20,000 will get us our sleeping bags and cots. That's a pretty important element for tonight, because like you said, it will dip down below 0, so it would be nice to have at very least a sleeping bag. But hey, we're committed to the cause. But that would be a very nice cherry on the first night. And then from there, $30,000 will get us the metal frame of our tent, and then $40,000 will get us the canvas. $50,000 will get us a heater. And then $60,000 will be our goal, and that'll help us wrap up the event hopefully towards the end of Wednesday.
Okay, Brownie?
Liam, that's pretty amazing what you guys are doing. I think like we all know firemen and we know how much they like to get involved. How did you guys how was it you guys? Was there 5 guys? How did you guys get picked? Why you 5?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Sean. And sorry I didn't say hi to you at the beginning there. Hello. Yeah, so the fire department is very much so a culture that's deeply rooted in tradition. And we very much so passed the torch from one generation to the next. So we had an excellent group of gentlemen in the early 2000s that started this rooftop campout. So it's been going on for a little over 20 years. There was then a next group that took it over, and then now we've been handed the torch over the past few years to kind of continue the legacy and keep that flame burning bright. Excuse the pun, I suppose. But the idea is that, you come out to maybe a boot drive to help out, and then there are a number of Muscular Dystrophy Canada events that we participate in throughout the year. We have the walk and roll that we do in the summer, which is an event out at a park where we get a bunch of families together for a barbecue. And then one of our humongous events is we do a Muscular Dystrophy camp that's put on by Muscular Dystrophy Canada with the assistance of the Edmonton Civics Employees Charitable Assistance Fund. They give us $35,000 to help do that camp every year, which is amazing. And then really how you get involved and how you get hooked is you go to one of those events and you meet a single person affected by muscular dystrophy. To see that people have smiles on their faces and they're able to, enjoy life, albeit there is hard days, there is hard years, life can be very challenging, but they're still able somehow to figure out how to be happy and enjoy life. And then, you see the sense of community that comes together in those moments and you're hooked. It's just something that becomes very easily something to be very attracted to. So yeah, I think hopefully that answers the question. But yeah, you make contact with one person and then it's over. You got to be a part of it. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of how we tend to get involved with these sort of things, and we have a number of different charities and people in the department. It seems like everybody has something that they're contributing to. So this is a fantastic endeavor, and there's lots of fantastic endeavors. We appreciate that. But it is one that is near and dear to our hearts for sure.
Liam Troy joins us, Edmonton firefighter, currently on the roof at, now where's Fire Hall number 2?
So it's located right in the heart of downtown. We're in the the pylon zone down here. So it's a little bit hard to access the station, but it is possible. The hall is located at 102nd Avenue and 107th Street. So it's just south of Grant MacEwan University.
Right. Okay. Now, so people that want to donate, what's the best and easiest way for people to want to make donations to help fill the boot and maybe get you guys your sleeping bags before the night?
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. So we have a online link. It is edmontonrooftopcampout.ca.
Okay.
So edmontonrooftopcampout.ca. And that'll take you right to our page, and you can decide if you want to make a small contribution or a large contribution. Tax receipts are offered with donations automatically, so they will be sent right to you. We'd also, if you're looking to make a smaller contribution, but also greatly valued, we do have a text to donate line as well. So that's, you text GIVE, GIVE, to 41010.
41010, and you just text in the word give to 41010, and then you get it.
And that's if you want to just contribute $5, that is greatly appreciated. That'll just be kind of an automatic amount.
I think we might have lost Liam there. Well, hopefully reconnects. Phone might have kicked out. But so there you have it. Hey, that kicked out right at the time. So edmontonrooftopcampo.ca is there you go. Now Liam's back with us. Okay, good. And you can do the text. Just text the word give to 41010. Now, Liam, how many years have you been a firefighter, my man?
Yeah, so I became a firefighter in March of 2019, so about 5 years. That's kind of around the ballpark of all of our members, kind of 3 to 8 years, the gentlemen that are up here on the rooftop. So like I said before, we very much so pass the torch from one generation to the next. So we're the fresh crop of guys who are out here just, giving everything we have to this cause.
Now, I want to ask you, so we have an auction item that we're auctioning off for you guys. Pretty unique. It includes, so you get a limo for 6. They'll pick you up at home. They'll take you to Fire Hall number 1, the original Fire Hall in town, because you can't just buy dinner and go have dinner at the Fire Hall. That doesn't work. And so we've got, Mr. Fung, of course, a great chef's going to come in. He's going to cook the dinner for the 6 people. Now, they get a tour of the hall and everything. And there's also going to be some firefighters who are going to be present at dinner to kind of, questions that you want. Can it kind of take us through? Have you done one of these dinners before? Have you ever been one of the guests at the dinner?
No. So this is a fundraiser that we have used in the past, but we've gotten away from it for a while. And then, we want to really kind of bring the public and Edmonton into the fold as to kind of what it looks like to be a firefighter in this city and the quality service that we believe that we provide for our citizens. I think the idea is that you get a first-class dining experience, a first-class experience as far as to and from, and then you get a fully immersive kind of gritty look at what it looks like to be a firefighter in this city. So not only can the guests go through the trucks at the halls, they can also actually go on calls with the firefighters. So they can drive in the fire truck, lights and sirens. They can observe, from a safe distance, kind of what it looks like to help someone out on a medical call or at a car accident or potentially a fire, right? So they can get a good understanding of what it looks like to make it happen in the city every day.
Man, it's our hats go off. I have a few buddies. I love chirping them that are firefighters, but they're good dudes. It's a job that no one really wants at the toughest days, and many of you go through it. And obviously, we've seen, when it comes to firefighters and brutal cold winters or firefighters in the summertime lately. It's a tough job, and the opportunity to help out. I love that you guys are giving back your time. So once again, Edmonton Rooftop Campout.ca is where you can make a donation. They want to get to at least 20K. They're at 15, so a good start in day 1, but get to 20K. At least they'll have a sleeping bag tonight. Now, if you guys don't have a sleeping bag, what are you guys just spooning tonight? What's happening?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the order of operations for how that would go. I think I make a really good inside spoon personally. No, I'm an inside. I'm a small spoon kind of guy. I like to be held, to be honest. Yeah,
okay, that's fair. You're like brownie.
But yeah, we have a nice little area rug, I think, that we'll probably post up on. Yeah, it might be a little rough. We're really pulling for Edmonton to come through for us, that's for sure.
Yeah. And again, you can text give to 410-410 or go to edmontonrooftop.ca, or you can make your donation here for our bid. It's currently at $900, which is a steal of a deal. So we'll get that up. 833-401-1440 if you want to help out the Edmonton firefighters, who, of course, more importantly, helping out all those who are living and surviving with muscular dystrophy. Liam, thanks so much for this, man. We'll check in. How long are you guys on there for until you get to the 60K?
Yeah, so in the past, that's kind of how we've done things, but we wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to really get all of our community together. So that's why we chose to come down on Wednesday at a set time, 5:30, and then we'll have a pizza party wrap up with as many of our muscular dystrophy families as we can, as well as our families as well, because that's kind of how we do things. We're all one big happy family, I think. So yeah, we'll be here till Wednesday at 5:30, but we're really confident and believe in our city, and this is a fundraiser that started here right in Edmonton. So I and our group really believe that we can pull together and make this goal happen for sure by Wednesday at 5:30.
Awesome stuff, Liam. Well, thanks, and maybe we'll touch in with you on Wednesday. I appreciate your time.
That'd be awesome. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate you guys very much. Have an awesome rest of your day.
You too. That's Liam Troy. So if you don't want him, although maybe let him suffer for a night and then make your donation tomorrow. We'll see. But the goal is to 60K. Obviously they're at 15 right now. If they get to 20,000, then they can have their sleeping bags overnight. And I know, like, people, it's not that cold out. Have you ever slept outside without a sleeping bag in -5 or 6? Trust me, that ain't overly comfortable. So I know Brownie would like to be the big spoon, but we'll see.
Hey, that's brave. I couldn't imagine being out there and braving those elements. The one thing I did want to ask him is, like, my dad was a fireman, right? And he just raved on about the meals that were cooked at the fire hall. Yeah. I wanted to ask Liam, is he the guy that's cooking? How does that ranking go?
Yeah, well, supposedly some guys who just like to do it, they get to cook more, but you do kind of have to earn your keep. I talked to a few of my firefighter guys. Like, they're like, hey, it's not just always Johnny who's always cooking, right? Like, you got to find a way, to elevate your cooking game a little bit, right? Now, most guys, like, it's hey, you know what? It's steaks or something. Like, all you got to do is be good at one or two things, right? And then when it's your rotation, you just keep bringing them back. That would be the ideal plan. So if you want in on our auction item today, it's currently at $900. Which is steel. So it's the limo for 6 that will get you to the fire hall. It's on April 28th. You have the dinner. You get the whole tour of the fire hall. You get to meet with the firefighters, lots of different people, ask lots of questions. You can set up even to go on a ride along. That's pretty sweet. And as a bonus, we'll throw in 100 bones at OTR as well. So, you might you want to have a celebratory night later on. Maybe we'll get to know some of the firefighters. You guys will go out and have a few beverages later on another day. So that's great. So 833-401-1440. It's an absolute steal at $900 right now. So let's get that up to help all those who are suffering with muscular dystrophy. Quick break. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire, and the midwinter tire clearance event is on right now. 20% off all in-stock tires, all the big names, great brands, great service, great savings. FountainTire.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Late night in the NHL. 2 games on the schedule at 5:30. Got the Jets and Sharks meeting in Winnipeg. Then at 8:30, the Golden Knights head to LA to take on the Kings. The NHL Department of Player Safety has suspended Anaheim Ducks forward Trevor Zegras for 3 games for interference against Michael Rasmussen of the Detroit Red Wings. The play in question occurred late in the second period of the Red Wings' 5-4 overtime win on Sunday. Zegras was not penalized on the play. Also, NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman has upheld the suspension that was handed to Minnesota Wild forward Ryan Hartman for roughing Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators, though he reduced the length of the suspension from 10 to 8 games. In the association tonight, we got the Kings taking on the Hornets. Trailblazers meet Utah. Thunder host the Timberwolves. Heat in Atlanta. Wizards taking on the Nets. The Bulls meet the Sixers. Pacers and Nuggets. And get it all going at 5 o'clock. Pistons taking on the LA Clippers. Sad news from the baseball world is Cleveland Guardians owner Larry Dolan passed away. Dolan purchased the team in 2000 and taken the team to the playoffs on 3 separate occasions and a World Series appearance in 2016 where they lost to the Chicago Cubs in 7 games. He was 94 years old. Coming up in Hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll ask 5 questions and be joined by new member of the Edmonton Elks, quarterback Cody Fajardo. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The Edmonton Firefighters Rooftop Campout for Muscular Dystrophy is happening now. Edmonton firefighters are again braving the elements by camping on the roof of Fire Hall number 2. But this year, they've decided to add a little twist and will be starting the rooftop campout with no camping equipment. The more money they raise for muscular dystrophy, the more equipment they'll get to survive an Edmonton winter, with the final goal of getting off the roof and helping this incredible cause. Donations can be made now at any Edmonton Fire Hall or online at edmontonrooftopcampout.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Hey, did you know you can get a free drink today?
Nice. I love free drinks.
Yeah, Booster Juice called your name today on the Booster Rewards app, so you get a free smoothie, booster mixer, or fresh juice.
Well then, why are we still sitting here just talking about it?
Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. 2 names every day, all February long. Must be a Booster Rewards app member. For complete details, visit boosterjuice.com.
It may sound cliche, but it's true. Building something new starts with a solid foundation. At GS Construction, we're growing Edmonton subdivisions with deep utility services and infrastructure that lasts. Every new project begins with skilled people like you, building communities from the ground up. GS Construction is hiring. So if you're a foreman or a pipe layer that's looking to put your skills to work for Edmonton and area in 2025, we'd love to hear from you. Visit gsconstruction.ca and join a team that digs deep and builds stronger.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Hair Aware with Dr. Vance Elliott.
Hey, Doc, I really want my hair restoration to fly under the radar, but I recently read that men have to shave their heads and go full Lex Luthor before treatment.
The majority of my patients don't require head shaving because we can work around it. I can perform a no-shave FUE transplant or an FUT transplant if we determine that a transplant is necessary. Let's discuss your options.
Trust a world-renowned expert in hair restoration. Book an appointment at drvanceelliott.com today.
Catch all the on-ice action and excitement right here. The Sports Bar at Century Casino Edmonton.
With tons of big screens, there's not a bad seat in the house. Plus food and drink features and an all-star menu with something for everyone. Join the fun this February with Oilers watch parties. And be sure to cheer loud and proud from puck drop to the final horn.
Every day is game day at Century Sports Bar and Lounge.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. Learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.411, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sean Brown, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. As always, the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. Use the promo code Gregor50 and you'll get a free $50 play at PlayAlberta.ca. You can also text us 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440 in our inbox. We'll hear from Cody Fajardo later on this hour as the offseason for the Elks getting shorter by the day as they will get set for the upcoming season. And Cody, of course, signed as a free agent, comes in. He will be the backup to Trey Ford. Doesn't mean you push for the job, but we'll talk to Cody about that, knowing you're the backup, but also preparing yourself. So you want to push the guy, but I don't think you want to shove him for the job, if that makes any sense. So we'll talk to Cody about that. We got lots more text to get to on the Oilers, Brownie. I know we talked in the first segment with you a little bit about, the defensive play and stuff for Edmonton. And, when you have 2 bad games, it's 2 bad games. Like overall in their season, pretty good. They were 5th or 6th in goals against. Their last 3 games, they've plummeted down a little bit because they've been a little leaky. But when you look at this team and there's 11 days for trade deadline, how active do you think the GM needs to be? Like what do you think are some key additions they need, whether personality or type of player or position?
Well, I think you have to be active because that's your job, right? I think he has to, whether they make deals or they don't make deals, I think he just has to understand and know, keep a finger on the pulse to know exactly who's out there and what, because there could be players that, there's always the insiders and Sportsnet and TSN that have, certain players that always seem to pop up, but we never actually really do know who's actually available. So I think any GM would probably be doing a disservice to their team, no matter, if they're not, trying to find out as much information as they can. I guess, what the one thing that losing does is it magnifies everything, right? It magnifies mistakes. Everyone starts to, really dig into, the team game, but also individually. I think back to, when I was playing, you obviously, you're building relationships with different players and, wives, and it extends beyond just the player relationship. There's a lot of friendships. And, the thing that concerns me is like when you're losing, and there's 2 weeks to the deadline, obviously things become a little bit more desperate or concerning from a GM's point of view. I'm assuming that, they're starting to like, okay, whoa, does this ramp up the need, to maybe, and I'm not saying I'm fine with Skinner as a goalie, but, does this start to be more of a concern? And now as a GM, you're put in a spot, if they don't get out of this sooner than later, then all of a sudden you're going to start to lose friends, right? It's going to cost people's jobs. And that's always hard from, as a player, and especially at this time of the year. So, it's not a fair game. Is it fair enough? Is Klingberg and his game in the short, sample size that we see of Klingberg's game, is it enough? Like the guy's been out a year. He doesn't have a whole lot of time. Have we seen enough where, he's the answer, and, or do we need to find a bigger, stronger, reliable defenseman that's harder to play against? No different than I would say up front. It is a little concerning that more often than not, Connor McDavid is not only the most skilled player, but it's concerning to me that he's also the emotional guy, the most physical guy. That's great for Connor. I don't know if that's great for the team. Do they need to bring in that heavy? We see we watch the Four Nations, and, you see Sam Bennett and the value that guy has, the Kachucks, right? I mean, you have a young son and I have a young son, and we're both in hockey and coaching and doing our thing, and a lot of it is, now it's, apparatuses, and it's Connor McDavid. Of course, we all want to be Connor McDavid. Every kid wants to be Connor McDavid, but I think we really, that's kind of unrealistic, right? But a Sam Bennett is somebody that we can all aspire or have a chance to be. I mean, he is highly skilled, and he's an NHL player, but, I think that's important for, for you, for me, for kids, that to me, that type of Canadian kid used to be a dime a dozen back when I played. I think back when you played, there was a ton of those kids, right? It was, everyone wanted to play rough. Everyone wanted to play tough. Everyone wanted to play hard. And right now we're kind of at a funny spot where it's, apparatus after apparatus, device, pattern here, let's get back to like, I guess obviously I do a lot of different development, right? And I believe like too much power skating isn't great. Too much, apparatus work isn't great. Too much battling, it isn't great. There's got to be a combination of all of it. But I know that it's funny, for as long as I've been in doing development myself, that, when it is time to kind of roll up the sleeves and get a little ugly and work on puck protection and the greasy part of the game, right? It's not looked at as fun as it is, as, when you bring in an apparatus,
it's hard work, man.
Yeah, kids' eyes just light up. Whoa, apparatus day, skill day, but it's like, hey man, we got to learn to play in the trenches too. Right. And I guess if I can bring this back to the Oilers in a way, is sometimes, the game requires that. It doesn't matter how good you are, how skilled you are, and who's on your team. You look at Canada in the Four Nations Cup, and you looked how well, that first game, how well, and how physical and how well the US checked Canada, right? Sometimes it doesn't matter how much skill you have. Sometimes you just have to get in there in the trenches and get comfortable in the trenches for a little bit, and then your skill will come.
Yeah. Well, it's very well said. And I think it's a great conversation to have. And now that's at the grassroots level, but at the NHL level, like I look at some guys and just say, hey, like, when Noah Philp got called up, Brownie, he didn't do anything. Like, I don't even think he got engaged in any real sort of physical confrontation at any point. And on this team, you could have stood out 10 times more because no one does it. And you're bang on about like the fact that when Connor McDavid's like, geez, there's not a lot of energy in the game, so I got to run some guys. And you're like, how the beep are these other guys in the third and fourth lines not recognizing this? And then when he says it publicly, somebody should clue in, like, Or maybe the coach just says, hey, guys, why the hell is our all-star captain the only guy who feels he can change momentum of the game with a hit?
Gregor, we've talked about it before about like, I think it's a great story about Noah Phelps, and I'm a fan of his, and I think we all want to see him succeed because he's big, right? He's got something that you can't teach, and I agree with you 100%. When he got up here, he would still be here, if he finished his check and played uncomfortable. Winning faceoffs is not enough to keep you in the NHL. I don't like if it really comes down, if that's what keeps you in the NHL and that's how easy it is to make it, come on. Yeah. There's a reason why a lot of guys and very few can make it to the NHL. There's, we all play men's league, we all see men's league, and everyone's like, oh, what? Can you believe this guy didn't make it to the NHL? It's like, come on. Like, there's a lot more to this game than winning faceoffs and skating around and looking good and being skilled. And I went through it myself. I was naturally probably a little bit aggressive, but I came that much more aggressive when I knew that's what was going to keep me in on a team, or to make a team that no one else was going to bring. I recognized being like, hey, not everyone's willing to do this. And if I do this, I do have skill, but if I can do this and do it well, and the coach, believes in me, and what coach in any sport doesn't believe in a kid that's willing to get ugly? Oh. Right? You get him in your corner, and then I just allowed my skill and the rest of my game to kind of catch up. But I had to do some things that I was uncomfortable doing, but got comfortable doing it.
How did you get comfortable doing it?
That's a good question, because I think that nervous feeling sensation you get in the pit of your stomach when you're about to fight someone or do something that you're going to test another guy's will, and it's going to either go one way or the other, that butterfly, that feeling, you just learn to ignore it, right? It doesn't bother you. You don't get it as much. I guess is probably like, and I guess it gets back to like why I was able to carve out a little bit of a career for myself, is because that same feeling you get and everyone that's listening gets never stopped me from doing what I needed to do to get to where I want to go to. So, I think that it's, you don't get many opportunities to play in the NHL.
Right.
They don't always come. And if you lose it, I don't know if I would be scared that the door shut. And so, getting back to Phelps, or, you look at Kapanen or Janmark, and that's why we really appreciate Perry, is because, he's got the gamesmanship, but there's some guys here that Podkolzin that really, how uncomfortable have they really, really gotten?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you have to go out there and fight and put multiple fights together, but I quite often watch the games, and when I do, I don't know if I see enough guys at the right time taking advantage of when you need to get uncomfortable to get the troops and to get everyone into it. It's a very hard and big ask. And
it is.
And that part of the game, I know we've talked about it. You've made comments, there isn't that guy. There is that kid. There is that guy. I just don't think he's on the Oilers right now. But would you agree?
Yes. Oh no, the Oilers, there's no doubt about it, Brownie. When Leon Draisaitl said Corey Perry, and I asked Corey Perry about gamesmanship and how can you help other guys? And he goes, you can't really necessarily say much as a leader. You just hope that the guys pay attention. Now, Podkolzin, I give him credit. that fight earlier in the year, and KO'd the guy. Podkolzin's not a big fighter, and you could tell, but he did it, right? And really, I think no one's really now. Not there's a lot of fighters nowadays, Brownie, but if I'm Podkolzin, I'm like, guess what? Now I'm not going to go after Olivier or anybody stupid. But I'm going to hit other guys because 95% of the league doesn't want to fight me now. That's just a fact, because they're like, geez, this now. And the guys who do, okay, pick your spots. Bully the guys that can be bullied, right? The guys that aren't going to push. No, but I say that, and this is professional sports. This isn't, you teach your kids, don't bully kids at school. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about in the game, on the ice, be a little bit more of a dickhead.
100%. I mean, yeah. I mean, I've always respected and enjoyed the guys that, there was a line and the guys that could just get over the line. I like those guys, right? I love watching those guys because I know it's when you're across the line, you're also accepting the responsibility and what could come with that, which could be uncomfortable. Right. And I don't see a lot of guys. I see some guys on the line, not enough guys crossing the line. When you look at, Darnell Nurse getting hit into the goalie. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Not really doing anything.
Like when things aren't quite going well, like I would love to see a better response than, and I know he was a little fired up but I think there's got to be more than a little bit of a cross check.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all the time, you don't have to do it. I like the team tough too, right? I mean, maybe he does it one game, maybe Perry does it another game, maybe Podkolzin steps up and you have that team toughness, right? Where it's not just, I'd like to think when I was with LaRock, I mean, he did the majority of the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
There's no denying that, but I think I did pick up the scraps here and there and the odd, had some benefit to him.
Oh,
to
yeah.
the team,
Well,
right?
there's certain guys that you're like, hey, you know what? I'll take care of him. Don't worry, George. Like, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't want to bother with, the little guys, so he had his main guys that he wanted. And, but we had a lot of guys too, right? I mean, we had Jason Smith, we had Ethan Morrill, like the list goes,
Yeah. You need more, man. I think the Oilers, I've said it all year long. I think they need more. When it's like, oh, they'll get Kane. That's one guy. They need more than Kane.
It's still just one guy.
Yes. They need more than that. Quick break. Jason Gregor, Sean Brown, 2 Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. We'll update you. I want to get that bid package. We haven't had a bid on it. It's a great deal at $900. We'll get to that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The 2025 Ram 1500 Motor Trend's Truck of the Year in St. Albert Dodge is knocking 10% off the price. That's right, 10% off every single Ram 1500 they have in stock, and over 100 are available. These are the 2025's new interior and drivetrain options with increased horsepower and better fuel economy. Other dealers save their best deals for last year's model. At St. Albert Dodge, they're taking 10% off the newest, hottest truck on the lot. That's how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Well, get ready for a Sally hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
At Papa John's, we're not just in the business of making better pizza. We're in the business of making everything better. Ambitious? Perhaps. Delicious? You better believe it. Monday? Make it a pizza party. Sick of parenting? Get Papa John's on dinner duty. Date night? We've got the recipe for romance. With our never frozen dough and always fresh toppings, Papa John's is committed to making it all better. Get better today at papajohns.ca or visit any of our 50-plus locations across Alberta. Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only at participating McDonald's in Canada.
The Edmonton Firefighters Rooftop Campout for Muscular Dystrophy is happening now. Edmonton Firefighters are again braving the elements by camping on the roof of Fire Hall number 2. But this year, they've decided to add a little twist and will be starting the rooftop campout with no camping equipment. The more money they raise for muscular dystrophy, the more equipment they'll get to survive an Edmonton winter, with the final goal of getting off the roof and helping this incredible cause. Donations can be made now at any Edmonton Fire Hall or online at edmontonrooftopcampout.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Use promo code Gregor and get 20% off your order all day, every day. That's promo code Gregor before entering your order at papajohns.ca.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
And I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget. Back and forth through my mind behind a cigarette. And a message coming from my eyes.
428, Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440. Also, Sean Brown with you. Here we go. We're up to $1,000 from Mike. Okay, we're rolling. We still got a ways to go, so let's do it. 833-401-1440. Hey, guys, get the guys to donate to the auction for their ladies, perhaps a girls' night out. Who wouldn't want to hang out with some young, hot firefighters? Just a thought. Good luck from Sherry. Oh, Sherry, 100%. 100%, Sherry. Get in on it. Oh, it doesn't have to be guys who buy it. The ladies want to do it, more than willing to anybody who wants to bid, ladies or gents, for sure. But is it, could be a fun evening out for a group of 6. No question at all. Now let's get to our football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca as we talk a little CFL with the new quarterback for the Edmonton Eskimos. Cody Fajardo joins us. Cody, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Gentlemen, how we doing? Excellent over here. No complaints.
That's great. Now, Cody, you sign in Edmonton, you restructure your contract, and, a lot of people are like, hey, I'm here to support Trey Ford. How do you approach it where you support the young guy? To start the year, he's probably the starter, year number 2, but you want to push him but not shove him for competition. How do you balance that?
Yeah, it's a role that I haven't been familiar with in the last 6 years, being the starting quarterback. But it's a role I'm actually familiar with because my first 5 years in the league, I was a backup, and so I just think competition breeds success. And when you have a lot of talented players in one room, I think it just makes your football team a lot better. So as a competitor, we're all going to go out there and compete. But I think, there's going to be parts of his game that I'm going to learn and I'm going to try and implement into my game. And hopefully there's some things that I can teach him. And it's all about having a strong quarterback room in the CFL. I think that's what really breeds success in the CFL is when you have a strong quarterback room, 1 through 3 guys who can come in and play in games and win football games. Those are usually the teams that win a lot of football games and find themselves hoisting that Grey Cup at the end of the year.
Cody, you've watched him, what you've seen from Trey Ford in his young career. What excites you about his game?
He's damn near watching a video game at quarterback, which is pretty dang impressive. So I think the off-script plays that he does is the best in the CFL. And honestly, it rivals a lot of the NFL guys, like the things he can do outside the pocket, the things he can do with defenders breathing down his neck is pretty impressive. So to be able to watch that firsthand, being a teammate of his is going to be exciting for me. But he's got a lot of good football ahead of him, and I'm in the later half of my career, and so anything I can do to kind of support him and support the team and help this team win football games, that's what I'm going to do. Because when you get this old in football, so to speak, it's all about winning and it's all about championships. Money is one thing, and you try to get as much money as you can when you're young and hungry. But as you get older and you've won a couple championships, the relationships you build, the memories you have from being in the locker room and popping champagne all over the place and creating a mess is memories that you'll think way more than just looking at your check after a game. So that's what it's all about.
Cody, I'm assuming you've had a chance to look at the roster. Is there anything that excites you of coming to the Elks and some of the players you get to play with?
I think what Ed's done and Coach Killen have done is they've built our interior offensive line and defensive line. Like they've built from within and then pushing out. And so that's another way to win football games in the CFL is you have a defensive line that gets after the quarterback and offensive line that protects the quarterback. Those two things usually equate to winning football games. Now you got to piece it all together, but I think those things excite me. Some of the guys we've signed defensively, and especially on the defensive line, are guys I'm all too familiar with, so to speak. So I'm happy to be teammates with them and happy to know that they'll only be chasing me around in practice and won't be able to tackle me in practice as opposed to actually in game day.
Well, yeah, you look at like basically, they signed almost all of Toronto, the Grey Cup winning team's defensive line. Like it's kind of crazy, but they come as a unit. They bring in Demetrius Maxey as a unit. You talk about a strong quarterback room, the relationship not only with the quarterbacks internally, but with your offensive coordinator. How often have you spoke to Jordan? How do you see that being the veteran quarterback? How important is it to be on the same page with your OC?
Yeah, it's huge. And we've been talking very frequently, myself, Trey, and Coach McSimic. So the thing that I'm really excited about is he's a disciple of Coach Moss, and I've spent the last 5 years with Coach Moss. So the transition playbook-wise, there's a couple things that are a little bit different, and there's some terminology that's different. But in terms of concepts, in terms of learning the actual offense, there's a lot of carryover. So I feel like when training camp comes, it's almost like I'm going to hit the ground running and not like I'm going to take a couple steps back trying to learn a whole new system. So that's got me really excited going into training camp. It's just the familiarity that I'm going to have with this offense that I've been in the last, 5 years with Coach Moss.
Cody Fajardo joins us, quarterback for the Edmonton Elks. And, Cody, you've been in a backup, you've been in the starter role, and everybody always wants to start, right? And so you come in and you're going to compete for it, and being around the league as long as you have now, just learning a new offense. Isn't that difficult? And if so, what's the most challenging part about learning a new offense? And in some cases, is it overrated on how difficult it is?
It could be very difficult. And the reason why I believe it's difficult is because the terminology is, sometimes you're calling plays in the huddle and they're 15, 17, 18 words long.
Okay.
And the biggest thing is when you're in an offense and you're familiar with an offense, this concept as one thing, as one word. And then all of a sudden you go to a new team and that one concept that you knew as this one word, it's now called a different word. So they say the word and it just doesn't quite hit your brain as quickly as you want it to. And so you just almost have to retrain your brain to be like, okay, this is now called this and not this. So I think that's the hard part when you're learning a new offense. But in the CFL, everybody runs generally the same concept. So whichever team you go to, I think learning the actual X's and O's of it, like that is something that is very easy. It's the terminology that makes it extremely difficult because you're learning a whole new offense. So that's something you just got to study like you're back in college. A lot of late nights, a lot of extra caffeine to stay up and make sure when you hit the field that you can picture the play that coach is trying to call, because that's how you can become successful.
Have you ever been on a team where the guy's like, okay, we got to change the terminology. It isn't working for us as a group. Do we change it? Has it ever changed?
There's been gripes. There's been people who've gotten one or two plays changed, but over the course of a game, you usually go into a game with 100 plays. At least with Coach Moss, we're in with 100, 120 plays. So you change one or two, you're looking at 1%. So that's not as successful as you want to be changing plays. But for the most part, as the season progresses, things just hit your brain a little bit better. It's a lot harder in training camp. And I think the hardest thing for our team moving forward is when we hit training camp, we're a whole completely new team. We're going to have to figure out how to gel all together. We're all learning new systems. We have a new defense coordinator. We have a new offense coordinator. We have a new head coach. So there's going to be a lot of, differences and trying to bring us all together. And sometimes that equates to a little bit of a slow start. But then once you hit your stride, you are automatically just better than other teams, because I've found over the course of the last couple of years, the teams that stayed together over the off season usually got out to the hottest starts. And then the other teams kind of came along after the fact that they started gelling. So this team, our biggest challenge moving forward is how fast can we gel together? How fast can we all learn the playbook together? And then that will equate to winning more football games early on in the season.
Cody, you've had a ton of success in the league. You've been around in the league. How's your body feeling, and how does the summer training, how does that look for you? Is there someone at your age and for as long as you've been in the league, do you use the summer? Is there anything that you could add new to your game, or what does your summer look like?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for me, the the fact that I've played going on my 11th year, early on in my career, I'd have trainers and I'd have quarterback coaches and I'd have people trying to guide me in the right direction. The later half of my career and my starting, I've already built this plan, how much I need to train, what my workouts look like. So it's a little bit more fun because I get to build them, but you just have to have that motivation inside yourself to show up every day because nobody's pushing you. So that's kind of my mentality now. I'm not the biggest thrower. I'm not a guy that needs to throw 100 balls a day. Some quarterbacks need to do that. Others don't. So that's kind of, I usually tell people, I've only thrown X amount of times. Like, what? That's kind of crazy. But you've kind of worked out the kinks and what works best for you as an athlete. And then when you win a Grey Cup, it kind of validates your work and makes sure you're doing the right thing. So I always look at the previous year. I go through every single pass play throughout the course of the year, and I always try to pinpoint one or two things I want to fix. And what I learned last year about me is the biggest thing is I want to just be more consistent with my footwork. I felt like I was extremely accurate when my footwork was consistent. When I tried to do a little bit too much or my footwork was a little bit different due to pressure or something else, that's when I was a little bit more inaccurate. And so that's what I've really been kind of honing in on this off season. And I'm excited about where I'm at currently with a couple months to go before training camp.
So, Cody, when you say inconsistent with your footwork, are you talking about, okay, you're not planting your front foot as often as you like get it, kind of take us through footwork for a quarterback. And when you're consistent, what are you doing? And then when you get out of it, what aren't you doing?
Yeah, every play usually has a footwork attached to the routes. So most plays will have, we call a 3 and a hitch. So you take a 3-step drop, you hitch up in the pocket, you throw the ball. Some plays call for a 5 and a hitch, 5-step drop, you hitch up in the pocket. What I noticed was sometimes it would be like a 3 and a drift or a 5 and a drift that would turn into 5, 6, 7 steps as opposed to just 5. Your back foot hits, you're up in the pocket, ball comes out, right? So those are the things that I noticed was when I was drifting a little bit more in the pocket as opposed to setting up, being firm in the pocket and just trusting the guys in front of you. That's when I was more accurate. And so the only way you really can get good at that is reps is one thing, but game reps and getting back into that game state. So the hardest thing as a quarterback is you go through the entire training camp of not getting hit. You play a preseason game, you might get hit a couple times, but then all of a sudden week 1, you're getting hit just about every play.
Right.
So you have to figure out how and what works for you to get that stimulated. I'm going to get hit here and I'm going to feel like I'm going to get hit to work your footwork, as opposed to it's easy to go into practice knowing you're not going to get hit and complete every ball, but it's so unrealistic because in a game, you're going to get touched, you're going to get pushed, you're going to get hit. So that's the hard thing that I learned as a quarterback and as a starter the last 6 years is trying to figure out the best combination for me to be consistent with my footwork without the expectation of getting hit in practice.
Cody Fajardo joins us, quarterback for the Edmonton Elks. One last one for me, Cody. You're coming in. They're not going to have an overly veteran receiving core. You'll have a few for sure, but not a lot. How is a veteran quarterback, from what you've seen working with a lot of receivers over the years, how can you help them get more comfortable in the CFL?
Build confidence. It's all about positive reinforcement. A lot of young guys who come up here, the hardest thing to do for them is waggle. And it's something that they don't, especially the American guys, it's just something that they don't do. But all these guys are talented. The guys that we've brought in and the guys that we've retained are all extremely talented. And I've just found that positive reinforcement for receivers and not getting on them and just letting them know they're doing a great job usually equates to them trying harder, being better. But sometimes it's the unknown guys that lift off. And I can give you an example. Austin Max, a guy that nobody expected to be anything. And in that 2023 season, he had 1,000 yards and played amazing in the Grey Cup, played amazing the whole year, was an all-star, right? Sometimes it's those guys that defensive coordinators don't know much about, don't know how to defend them. It's the guys that, you have a Eugene Lewis who takes a lot of attention away from defenses, so it opens up other guys. That's probably what we're going to miss. But the thing is, we're going to have a lot of guys that people don't know a lot about. So when we hit the field, it's like, well, who do we cover? Well, normally that equates to a little bit more man coverage. And as a quarterback, you love man coverage because you can drop back and usually your first read's going to be open and you don't get hit as much. So I'm excited about our receiving core because of that reason. I think there's going to be a lot of competition. There's also not a lot of solidified spots. And there's not guys where it's like he has to be our starting receiver at this position. It's like you know what? This is an open competition. And like how we opened up the show, I talked about competition makes everybody better. And I think Coach Killam and Coach McSimic, they're going to say, look, we're going to play the best 5 receivers, and we're going to figure out who the best 5 receivers through camp are and go out and win yourself a spot. And usually that makes guys better quicker. And I'm going to try and help us gel and help guys understand the CFL playbook. And usually when you don't have to think, you can play faster. And so the less those guys have to think, the better they'll be for myself and Trey.
Cody, great stuff, man. Look forward to seeing you in camp. We appreciate this. Thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you again soon.
You guys are awesome. It's always great to talk about ball in February. So I appreciate you guys reaching out.
Hey, man, anytime. That is quarterback for the Elks, Cody Fajardo. Really well-spoken guy, Brownie. The thing, when he signed, I had a few players text me from the league saying he is going to be perfect for Trey Ford. He has the right balance of positivity. Well, he'll push him, but he'll educate him as he's challenging, right? And what he said, hey, you want to have a competitive quarterback room? And I think Cody Fajardo is just better suited in that role from players who are being in rooms than, because not everybody's ready there yet. Like, you're late in your career. Doesn't mean you're ready to just hand over the torch sometimes. And so it doesn't mean he's ready for it. His personality just allows him to handle it better.
Yeah, it was a great question, and I was really interested in his response because, like you said, I mean, he's not playing the game. He's not playing the game, and you could, as a professional, not play a game and not. You're competitive, and I'm assuming he wants to be the guy. More than anything, I think it's his relationship and how he conducts himself, right? But he's going to be putting his best foot forward in his practice habits. He's putting in the work during the summer. He wants to be the guy, and I think you want that. You want that. You want the guy to be the guy. I think more than anything, it's his personality and his way that he interacts and how he makes Trey Ford and other guys feel. When he's playing, when he's not playing, and how he's supporting them and the way he's supporting them. But I mean, I could not play a high level sport and just be like, hey, you know what? I'm not looking to take your job. Of course I'm looking to take your job.
Jason Gregor, Sean Brown to you, Sports 1440. We'll return with 5 questions on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade: safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Want sports talk on the go?
You can listen to 1440 on the AM dial or stream us on your mobile device through apps like Radio Player, iHeart, and Stingray Music.
Edmonton sports fans,
turn to Sports 1440.
1440.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Don't settle for being on the rate of last resort if you don't have to be. Check your most recent electricity bill. If it says the words rate of last resort on it, then there are likely better options available for you. In fact, you could save hundreds of dollars per year by switching plans. Check your bill, then go to ucahelps.ca to explore your options. You will likely find a better rate and could have hundreds more in your pocket by the end of the year. A message from the Government of Alberta.
New Edge Construction wants you. We are hiring for several positions. Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. A strong team, competitive wages, retention bonuses, and current model equipment are what awaits you at New Edge. Go to newedgeconstruction.com. That's NUEDGE construction.com.
Join a leading civil construction group in the Edmonton region. Start your career now.
Go to newedgeconstruction.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
Hat tricks, touchdowns, and home runs. Get it all with the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having an awesome day. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Are you waking up feeling more tired than you went to bed? A good night's sleep starts with the right mattress. Visit the Brick Mattress Store today and find the mattress that will give you the restful sleep you deserve.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, guys, question number 1. Obviously not a great weekend for the Oilers. 2 losses, not the best performances. What was the most disappointing thing about the Oilers' performance in those games, in your opinion?
It was just the lack of urgency and the excitement to kind of get back at it and to really take advantage of the fact that, you know, McDavid was playing at such a level. It would be kind of interesting, you know, him coming back to play, you know, would almost be similar to like him coming back to like the American Hockey League, right? Like just that level of skill and being around all those great players and that pace at that time of the year. Like, you know, I was really excited to see him come back to the NHL because I thought, wow, this guy is going to be confident. He already can fly. He's going to take it to another level. And that was just, you know, it was a little, it was tough. The lack of urgency, you know, overall of the team and not taking advantage of that was the disappointment for me.
Well, I just think their overall defensive execution was horrific. They were they played Santa Claus too often on gifted goals and just I thought they got outworked, to be honest. I thought they lost way too many puck battles.
Question 2, if you're putting the Oilers forward lines together for tomorrow night's game, what would they look like?
Well, I'm going to play Draisaitl with Savoie and Podkolzin. I don't really care who's the left. I just want Draisaitl with Savoie. I'm keeping Hyman with McDavid. I would put Arvidsson and I would put. Actually, I might even try Jeff Skinner, honestly, with McDavid. I don't have a problem with that at this point. Then I would go Nugent, Hopkins, Brown, Janmark. Actually, I would sit out Arvidsson for a game. I'd send a message. I think he's being junk. So I'd have Arvidsson out. I don't think they will do that, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, shake it up a little bit. I wouldn't mind seeing, you know, I know Skinner got a goal. I wouldn't say his overall urgency and his checking and his skating was where it needed to be. But having said that, we're getting close to the deadline. You know, we got to get this guy going. And so, yeah, I would put him up there with I put him up there with a Draisaitl, and I like Savoie there myself. I think he's, you know, he's getting in on pucks, and I mean, we've seen with the Draisaitl goal where he got in there in Philadelphia and turned it over. I hope for the sake of his development, you know, they can kind of get this back on track, because it'd be nice to see him get into some more games. But if they start losing, it's going to start, you know, more than likely it's going to affect him and potentially some others. And I think I feel the same way about Skinner. I know Arvidsson hasn't been all that great, but I would give him a shot with McDavid, right? With Hyman, we all know what he's going to do, and the work that he's going to bring. We got to get some of these guys that, you know, have been kind of okay at different times of the season, get them going, and put Podkolzin with Nuge and I like Kapanen, same thing. It's an opportunity for Kapanen to get out there, use his size, and take advantage of an opportunity where this team needs, some grit and someone hard to play against. And we all know what we get from Perry. We need more from Henrique and Brown. I got no problem with the way Brown's game's going. And I'd probably, bringing in Stetcher, we all know what we're going to get, right? He's going to compete. He's an undersized defenseman. I think if you bring him in, you're basically, that feistiness and that tenacity, is something that, I don't know if he's the answer, but you can't deny that if he gets in there, that's what he's going to bring, and hopefully that's contagious, and we'll bring some others along for the ride there. So,
all right, guys. Question number 3: another year, another Scotties title for the Holman Rink. When it comes to the greatest female curling squads of all time, who tops your list?
Wow, man, the way she's going, she is on pace to definitely do it. The Schmerler or Jones would probably be the two best. Jones had a lot of Scotties and stuff, but she didn't win the Worlds as often. So, yeah, it might be, and that's Colin Jones. I would say Schmerler's still number 1, but honestly, the Holman Rink has a chance, I think, to really push for that, because I think she curled 100%. Right, like she that you didn't miss a shot, so that's pretty impressive. Yeah, you got a ways to go yet, but I think they got a real chance to catch the Schmerler ring.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest curling fan, so I read that little article. Connor, thanks for sending that out. I'll go with Schmerler. I have I guess a new appreciation. I think when you've never really played a sport, and I never did play curling until the Oilers alumni had a little bond spiel at the Shamrock Curling Club, and it's a great sport, but it's not easy. It was, I threw a number of rocks right through the
house.
Right, like bombed them through the house. Like it wasn't even, so
I'll get some touch on those meat hooks, man.
It was, so, well, hey, at least my legs can support my upper body, Gregor. But yeah, it's a skill. And like I said, anything, when you don't play something, you really develop a new appreciation for someone else's ability.
Question number 4. This is something that's bugged me for a long time. The New York Yankees facial hair policy. Well, now they're going to allow clean-shaven beards. So I'll ask you guys, if you were to have one facial hairstyle for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Brownie?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I played in the New Jersey organization, and Lou Lamoriello was obviously very tight with the management of the Yankees, so he was very similar. Like Lou was he ran a very tight ship, and so when I got there, I actually don't shave with a razor, because the black side of me, I get ingrown hairs, and there's nothing worse when you get a number of them and you're just in the mirror trying to pick
what do you
them
shave
out.
with?
I just have like a little hair trimmer, and it just gets it really low. And so I actually got called into Lou's office, right? Because he's like, hey, there's a rule and a policy here. Like, we shave. And I was just like, man, I don't want, I am.
Did you explain to him your situation?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I explained to him, I said, listen, I'm not being disrespectful, but like, if I shave, you don't know how bad and bumpy my neck is going to be. And I'm just, it's very, very annoying. And I will make sure, every other day or every day, I will take these, basically smaller hair clippers, and it gets it really low. Right. So,
what did he say?
Oh, he was fine. I think once he realized that, there was no disrespect, or I didn't mean anything by it. Lou was completely fine. I mean, I did, I obviously respected the rules, and there was a lot of them there. So yeah, he, you definitely know there was no gray. Like, you definitely know where you stood with Lou. But I guess as far as facial hair, I don't know, what do you call this thing? Like the little like wound room, or like I guess you don't, like, it's just below your bottom lip.
Oh, don't tell me.
Soul patch?
The soul patch. You're going to go with the soul patch. Get out of here.
But
you don't even know what it's called. You can't wear a soul patch if you don't even know what it's called. Oh my goodness! What are you suddenly going to start smoking weed too?
Hey, but listen, it's going to be
marijuana or what is this exactly? I just wanted to go with my. Get out of here!
It's not. Listen, the key to it is to keep it tight, right? Not too thick because it gets food and it gets stinky. But it could be very subtle.
Oh God, classic. Guess if I had to wear one for the rest of my life, I would just go. I don't really like the goatee, so I would just like a nice, 2-day trim beard. It's easy. I got a beard trimmer now. It's super easy. I like it, so I'll go with that.
Final question for you guys today is National Tortilla Chip Day. When it comes to tortilla chips, what is the best dip to go along with them?
Oh, guacamole all day.
Guacamole. I'm gonna go with
that's avocados, Brownie, just in case you haven't refined your palate enough yet.
You're way ahead of all of us, Gregor. I'm gonna go with the surprise dip, which my wife. We had some people over to watch the Four Nations game and the Super Bowl. I think everyone knows what that is, right? It's a layer of cheese and salsa and what is it? Philadelphia cream cheese, and you kind of dip it in there. It's layered. I find it put some jalapenos on top. I'll go with that as a dip.
Okay. Cons?
Put me in the cheese category. If you give me like a little Velveeta with some Rotel, mix that up together. That's what I like. So I'm gonna lean towards cheese for these. Parkview Junior High used to have really good nachos. That was what whenever I got like a couple bucks to spend on lunch, that's what I'd go for, like nachos.
I was never really a nacho.
So you guys are talking like that yellow, just chemically induced crap cheese. That's what you want on your chips? Are we serious right now?
No, I don't know. I'm not doing it. That stuff's like 1% away from actually plastic, isn't it?
Yeah, like no chance, man. Yeah, why don't you just melt some Pacas and dip it in that?
Yeah, no, I'm talking layers to mine. Connor, do you know what I'm talking about with the layers, the cheese?
Brownie, maybe you should hand it out on Halloween. No one's ever seen it before.
Oh boy. Listen, how long am I going to be taking heat for what is it?
It's a classic line.
Hey, listen,
classic line.
It was new to me. This whole thing is new to me. I get no guidance. I get thrown into the fire, and
I'm handing out potato chips on Halloween.
It wasn't my area of comfort, and I'm scrambling live on TV.
No one's ever done it. Awesome.
I think we do a special job for people and kids when they come.
Still not Brokeback Mountain funny, but it's close. Brownie, have a good one. Do the orders bounce back tomorrow, or does the pain continue on this road trip?
You know what? I just by the post game interview of Connor McDavid, he looks ticked off, and we all know what he's capable of doing, and we've seen it over and over again. I have no reason to believe that this guy is not going to drag this team, as Coffey said, that he's just going to will his way to the Stanley Cup and drag everyone along with him.
All right. Well, might have to do a lot of dragging the way they're playing. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll update you on our auction item today. We've got to get this up a little bit. It's for a great cause to help out Muscular Dystrophy. It's a unique package. You can't buy it anywhere. So that's what's great. But let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice, where, hey, this week, because it ends on Friday, every day this week, they will give away free smoothies. Today, if your name is Gurpreet or Jacqueline, Gurpreet or Jacqueline, stop in at Booster Juice and get your free smoothie. And to find out your name every morning, check out their social medias to find out if today is your day.
This is a sports 1440 update.
Just 2 games on the ice tonight in the NHL. You got the Jets and Sharks at 5:30. Then at 8:30, Vegas heads to Los Angeles. Off the ice, the NHL Department of Player Safety has suspended Anaheim Ducks forward Trevor Zegras for 3 games for interference against Malcolm Rasmussen of the Detroit Red Wings. The play occurred late in the second period of the Wings' 5-4 overtime win on Sunday. Zegras was not penalized for the play. Also, Commissioner Gary Bettman upholding the suspension handed to Minnesota Wild forward Ryan Hartman for roughing Tim Stützle of the Ottawa Senators. He did reduce the suspension from 10 to 8 games. In the association tonight, you got the Clippers and Pistons meeting at 5. Also, Nuggets take on the Pacers. Sixers host the Bulls. Nets in Washington. Hawks up against the Heat. Timberwolves head to OKC. The Jazz will battle the Blazers, and the Hornets meet the Kings. Sad news from the baseball world as Cleveland Guardians owner Larry Dolan passed away today at the age of 94. Coming up in Hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Hockey is back. And Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The Alzheimer's Face-Off presented by Christensen Communities Limited hits the ice April 25th to 27th. This Edmonton-based tournament pairs hockey fans with some of their favorites from the NHL Alumni Association for a fun-filled weekend featuring a champions luncheon and tournament. Teams are already fundraising in the community, enabling the Alzheimer's Society of Alberta and Northwest Territories to continue providing help for today through free education programs and support services, and hope for tomorrow through research. For more information or to learn how you can get involved, visit alzheimersfaceoff.ca.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations in Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, and Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes, fittedgolf.ca.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Go green with a 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander PHEV at Cross Mitsubishi. Lease for $369 a month with $49.99 due at signing. Enjoy 0% financing for 36 months, plus a $1,000 trade rebate and $500 loyalty rebate. Equipped with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. Offer ends February 28th. See Cross Mitsubishi, 9605 34th Avenue, or visit crossmitsubishi.ca. Cross Mitsubishi. Drive your ambition.
When you wash, get the Works. The Works Car and Truck Wash is now open in Wetaskiwin. With 8 self-serve bays, you'll never have to wait in line. This isn't your typical gas station car wash. Choose from soft touch or touchless automatic washes. Plus, big trucks are welcome in the oversized highway truck bay. Use code SPORTS1440 when you purchase a wash card, and you'll receive a 15% bonus. Cannot be combined with other offers or promotions. When you wash, get the Works. Visit theworkswash.ca or follow them on Instagram and Facebook.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Epcor. Stormwater ponds in Edmonton are designed to move water and runoff from streets and sidewalks, making them unsafe for winter activities. Instead, head to a community league or city rink that's safe for you, your family, and friends. Think twice and stay off the ice. Learn more at epcor.com/winter safety.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Just after 5, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Hope you're having a lovely day. Just a reminder, okay, we're in the final hour. We're up to $1,100 now on this very unique dining experience. It's for the Edmonton Fire Rescue in support of muscular dystrophy. Now, it will happen on April 28th. This is where, so it's for 6 people. You have a limo that will pick you up at your house. We'll take you to the flagship fire station in town, number 1. There you're going to have a meal prepared by Edmonton's own 5-star chef, Andrew Fung. So it's going to be unreal food. You'll also get to tour the hall, all the equipment, jump on the fire trucks, get firsthand insight into firefighters, what they provide every day to the citizens of Edmonton and area. You're also going to have dinner with 12 members of the Edmonton firefighter crew and some executive leadership. So it'll be a little bit of a learning experience. You know what? Whatever you want. You want to go 6 dudes, you want to go 3 couples, 6 ladies, it's your choice. It doesn't matter. And then, of course, you get the limo ride home as well afterwards. So it goes on the 28th of April. So the dinner, everything kind of starts at 7. So they'll pick you up around 6 o'clock, 6:30, depending where you live, to get to Fire Hall number 1. So currently it's at $1,100. Pretty good deal. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. Want to help out muscular dystrophy? It's fantastic. So let's get that up here a little bit because this is a very unique item. And you know what? The muscular dystrophy is really tough for people who live with it. So it's an opportunity for you to help out. If you don't want to do that, which is totally fine, maybe you just want to help out because, of course, cons, the Edmonton Rooftop. What's the website again? Edmonton Rooftop campout.ca is the where you can go. You can make a donation there. We've got some since the show has gone on, which is great. Also, very easy. You can text 41010 and just text the word give to 41010, and that'll be a $5 donation. They add up really quickly. So feel free to go there as well. Their goal for tonight, they need to get to $20,000 before the end of the day today, or they're camping on the rooftop, no sleeping bags, because it's kind of a progressive goal. So it'll be a little bit harder, but if you want to help them out and you want to give them at least a sleeping bag tonight for the firefighters on top of Fire Hall number 2, just go to Edmonton. What do we just say? God, I forgot the website again. Edmonton.
If anyone wants it, Gregor, text me.
Okay.
833-401-1440.
Yeah, Edmonton Rooftop Campout.
I can share it. I can give the info as well for the quick donations also.
Very easy. So there you go. 833-401-1440. All right. Now let's get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, where they are in the community all the time. Remind you, though, through all the construction zones as construction season's starting to heat up, always be careful, be respectful. They want to get home safe just like you. That's GS Construction as we welcome in Mark Spector to the show. Spec, how you doing, my man?
Good. What's that website again, Jay? I forgot it.
Oh, yeah, buddy, don't worry. EdmontonCampout.ca. God, that was brutal. What an absolute... You know what? The only thing worse than that was the Oilers' defensive zone coverage. I must have butchered that as often they butchered in the D zone. EdmontonRooftopCampout.ca. God, that was painful. Painful.
Just having some fun, man. You
no, but it's true, buddy. It's very true, man. Very true. But it's also true. The only thing worse than that was the Oilers' defensive play over 2 games because it was porous to say the least.
Yeah, really, really. And when here's what I think. Like Washington is at the top of their game. We begin play tonight, the first place team in the National Hockey League. Tom Wilson said after the game, that's the best game we've played all season. So every once in a while, you go into a place where a team is just cooking. And it really doesn't matter who you are, who you think you are. They beat you because it's their turn to be playing well. If you go in and you lose that game to Washington, you just shake your head and go, hey, man, like that's the best team in the league playing their best game of the year. They're going to win. What kills you is you went into Philly and spat that game up and got absolutely smoked, put yourself in a position where you had to redeem yourself, and then you walk into the blender in Washington, and the Oilers didn't play well. There wasn't many. I'm not sure they're walking in and beating that Washington effort in the middle of February here. So you know what? We said it on Friday. The game you got to win's in Philly. and they've played as bad as I've seen them play in Philly.
Oh, yeah. It was not great at all. What did you make of Knobloch? And, hey, let's be honest, Spec. Hey, Evan Bouchard's a very good player who's not playing very well right now. And the Philly game wasn't good. Is there any talk about, switching up that deep pair? They just hoping that, you just got to keep throwing Bouchard out there, because the strange thing is his errors are coming in what should be the best part of his game. Puck distribution is the best part of his game, but man, he's just got too many turnovers. He's not missing defensive reads. He's just missing passes, which is odd.
He is. It's when such a good player continually makes mistakes, and we're into the last 30% of the season here now, right? He hasn't been. This has been going on since, I believe it was opening night, when he fell on the blue line and Winnipeg had a breakaway and scored a goal. It hasn't particularly gotten a ton better. He's struggled. Hey, he struggled all year. His numbers are down. He had 82 points last year. He's on pace for 58 this year. That's down. He doesn't have a power play goal all year. That's down, right? He had 35 power play points last year. He's got 20, on pace for 21 this year. That's down.
Mm-hmm.
So Evan Bouchard is the level of hockey player that can help put your team over the top, that can help you win a Stanley Cup. When you have that weapon, you consider yourself lucky, fortunate. You've drafted well, you've developed well. That's a notch in your belt. When that player comes out and doesn't help you win as nearly as much as he's supposed to, it kicks a dent in your chassis, man. Like this team, if this team's winning a cup, here's what I'm trying to say. If this team's winning a cup, Evan Bouchard's got to be a big part of that. If Evan Bouchard can't be a big part of that, I'm not sure they're winning a cup, Jason.
Oh yeah, no, it's fair. Like he plays the most minutes. We saw last year how impactful he can be. So you know what? He raised the bar, and last year was a career. I don't even think he needs to be that good. He just can't be where he is right now, right? He just needs to be a little bit more consistent. Maybe a lot.
Play all those minutes, you get the puck a lot. No one wants an Evan Bouchard playing 14 minutes a game or 17 minutes a game. Evan Bouchard's supposed to play like 24, 25. He was a number one defenseman and a genuine one last year. So it's not an unfair expectation to ask him to play like a genuine number one defenseman again this year, and he's not doing it. And let's hope they figure out how to get that out of him. Paul Coffey loses sleep over it, I can tell you that.
I can tell you, it just illustrates how difficult it is to be at the top of your game year after year after year. Because there's lots of guys. We can go around the league. Bouchard's not the only one. There's guys who struggle. And I think at times he was a top and he should just be top every year. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. And the guys who do it, that's what makes them elite, because they might have a stretch of 3 or 4 or 5 games, maybe even 7 or 8. But over the course of the year, they find ways to be there year after year. And that's what makes them truly elite. It's hard to do. 1 year is one thing. Doing it year after year after year, that's what makes you truly elite of the elite.
That's why a guy with Bouchard's offensive abilities, who's also really, really steady and smart and dependable defensively, like that mix, if you're that guy every game, every year for several years, your name's like Scott Niedermayer, right? Who's a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
Listen, Bouchard's game is so good offensively. He can make some mistakes in your zone. We're willing to make that trade-off. Everybody is. He's never going to be Scott Stevens or Shea Weber in his own zone. No one's asking for that.
Yeah.
But the game in Philly was probably a representation of a tough night for Bouchard. A couple of giveaways that didn't have to happen, that ended up in your net, and we've seen it before. So I'm not here to beat up on Evan Bouchard. He's such a good player. That's why we expect more out of him.
Yeah, totally fair. Matt Savoie, I really liked his first game, and then suddenly he's playing the least amount of minutes, Spec. I don't know if you read my article today about Jake Gensel, because I was looking at the I was trying to find players who come in on good teams, right? Like, it's easier for young guys, easier to get ice time on bad teams. Hard to get ice time on a good team. And Gensel's one of those guys who came in on a team that had won the cup, and they had all their veterans, and Mike Sullivan said, oh, geez, this guy's doing something. Let's do it. Like, Matt Savoie, to me, he's got to get some more ice time here moving forward down the stretch and play at least 13, 14 minutes every night, because I've seen for 57 games what the other guys are doing, and it's not good enough.
Yeah, I totally agree. There is room in this lineup. I will say to you that Like Chris Knobloch's heart's in the right place. Savoie's first game, both games, he plays with Draisaitl. His first game, he played a lot. You know, we liked what he was doing. Chris Knobloch wasn't that dummy coach that brings up a first line guy and puts him on his fourth line and gives him 7 minutes and says, go out and score some goals. He never did that, right? So we'll agree on that. The second game, I think Savoie just gets caught in a team that is getting its hiney kicked all over the rink. And the coach is, the coach loses track of a project here. He loses track of a young player. The bringing along of Matt Savoie fell way down the ladder after about halfway through that game in Washington. I'm sure it'll get back on track if the Oilers play any good. A practice today played in line with Draisaitl and Podkolzin.
Same
he's
line.
already a better, more effective player than Podkolzin. Podkolzin's fallen off the train here, right? He's I don't know, unless you're seeing something Podkolzin does that I don't see anymore. He's not doing anything.
Well, his physicality has disappeared. That's
It's
to me
next stop to the press box, because without his physicality, that's about 60% of what he brings to the rink is his physicality. He's scored 1 point in the last 10 games, and he's playing with the second leading scorer in the National Hockey League. So Podkolzin needs to start bringing it, or in my books, he's in the press box. We're 57 games in here, and he's not showing me anything anymore.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Who do you think gets the short straw? Janmark was out. Coach usually doesn't sit out guys like at least the forwards anyway in multiple games in a row. Who do you think is going to be out tomorrow?
Well, there's a few candidates on this team.
Oh God, yeah.
I'll say that. I'm not I haven't, could it be Kapanen? I'll tell you who it's not. It's not going to be Perry. Perry's got more goals than Skinner and Arvidsson. And he just keeps doing it off the fourth line. He plays for me. Henrique plays for me. Janmark just sat out. He plays for me. In my books, if you're asking me to pick a guy out of this lineup, it's Podkolzin, it's Skinner, it's Arvidsson, one of those three.
Yeah, see, to me, it'd be Arvidsson. I've barely seen very little from him. I didn't like the penalty. I don't care that you took a hit earlier. Like, man, I talked to my young kids about, you got to be disciplined at times. And you know what, when you're not producing anything, you can't take bad penalties. Hate to say it, but if you're a guy who's producing more, sometimes you kind of, look the other way. The guy's produced a lot. He took a bad penalty. But when you're producing nothing and then you're taking penalties like that, like, I'm sorry. They need way more from Arvidsson. He's skating up and down the ice spec, and he's shooting from distance and accomplishing very little.
And he's on his rear end half the game. This was a guy who made a living out of going in the corner and coming out with a puck. Now he's going in the corner and ending up on his rear end. This has not been a great July 1st for Jeff Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Let's call a spade here, man. Skinner and Arvidsson have not helped here. They both came in supposed to be top six players, and neither have performed like a top six player. I'll ask you. I wrote a column today. It's up on sportsnet.ca. I have it out on Twitter. Are the Oilers winning percentage after 57 games is actually identical
to last year
over year?
Mm-hmm.
Are they a better team this year or worse?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. They're more inconsistent, funny enough. They had a bad start last year and then got rolling. They've been a little bit more up and down this year. They started bad, then they got it going. Now they've been they haven't won a game in regulation in 7 straight, right? Like this funk has gone on longer than people like to think because of some wins over Chicago and St. Louis in overtime that weren't very pretty. So they've been more inconsistent. And I think this team has less dimensions than last year's team. There is zero grit. Well, I should say zero. There's some. There is much less, though, on this team than they had last year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if I break it down position by position, I want to say that, well, it's clear Stu Skinner's numbers are down slightly from last year. So you're not as good in goal. Bouchard's numbers are down from last year. Nurse is better, right? Yeah. I think Klingberg, let's reserve on him. He's only played 7 games. I'm not sure he's the answer here. Ty Emberson's been pretty good. So I'll tell you that you're roughly the same on the back end, roughly. Let's say that for the sake of the conversation. But when you go up front, I mean, and remember, you did lose Broberg. When you go up front.
Yeah, he only played like 13 games last year.
I know, exactly. When you go up front, Holloway, I'll take Holloway over Arvidsson. I'll take Holloway over Skinner any day.
Fogel, for sure.
I'll take Fogel right now over both those guys. So right there, you're down. Podkolzin came in here and he was taking it in a positive direction. He was improving your team. That's gone away. He's not improving your team anymore.
No.
So I would say at the forward ranks, you're not as good. It is amazing to me that Leon Draisaitl's taking a run at a Hart Trophy and an Art Ross Trophy, playing with Podkolzin and Arvidsson most of the year. Like, how the hell is he doing that? Can somebody get this guy a top 6 winger, please?
That's why, to me, I wrote it more. I would give Savoie a really good look. I don't know if he's the answer. I just know from what I've seen from the other guys this year, they have shown they aren't the answer. And that's all I know.
No, we're looking for the answer. It's amazing to me that Draisaitl's had the season he's had playing with those unproductive players. It's absolutely crazy. McDavid gets Hyman and Nugent Hopkins, most of the time, and McDavid doesn't have as many points as Draisaitl. That's crazy, man.
How about quietly since January 1st, McDavid has been outscored 19-12, 5-on-5.
Yeah.
I think it talked about a lot, but that line has not been good at all. Him and Bouchard together, it's been a combination. Now, sometimes, McDavid's on the ice and a few of those giveaways, he's done nothing wrong, right? And Bouchard's serving up a pizza, but overall as a group, they're getting outscored 5-on-5. And that's since January 1st. It's not a one game off. It's not a few games. That's since January 1st. And I know there's a 2-week break, but still, that's 6 weeks. So they got to pull up their socks a little bit, 5-on-5 too.
Yes. Small picture. Connor McDavid's -3 in his last 3 games. Like each game. He's -11 in his last 4 games. So big picture, you're talking, doesn't look great. Small picture, it looks poor. So yeah, listen. Just because he's the great Connor McDavid, it doesn't mean you get to go -3 every night. If he's the leader of the team, it's time to pick up his game as well. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. Spec, have yourself a great evening. We will chat with you tomorrow from lovely Tampa Bay.
All right. Sounds good, Jay.
There you go. That's Mark Spector, the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. Quick break. We'll come back. Got a bid up to $1,200 from Dale. I like it. So let's get this up a little bit here for Muscular Dystrophy and the Edmonton Firefighters. Very unique. You get the limo for 6 and you're going for dinner at the firehouse, which is awesome. Should be a great time. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Edmonton Firefighters Rooftop Campout for Muscular Dystrophy is happening now. Edmonton Firefighters are again braving the elements by camping on the roof of Fire Hall number 2. But this year, they've decided to add a little twist and will be starting the Rooftop Campout with no camping equipment. The more money they raise for Muscular Dystrophy, the more equipment they'll get to survive an Edmonton winter, with the final goal of getting off the roof and helping this incredible cause. Donations can be made now at any Edmonton Fire Hall or online at edmontonrooftopcampout.ca.
The 4th annual Blades of Steel 3-on-3 pond hockey tournament hits the ice Saturday, March 1st at Cattail Crossing Golf and Winter Club. Men's and ladies divisions, teams of up to 8 players, and cash prizes. $2,000 for first place. Entry just $600 per team, including jerseys, hot lunch, and a drink. Register now at cattailcrossing.ca. Don't miss out. Hockey, prizes, and community fun await you. The Blades of Steel 3-on-3 pond hockey tournament. Information and registration at cattailcrossing.ca.
It's the season for love, and you're about to fall hard for the vehicle of your dreams. Presenting the outstanding 2025 XC90 from Volvo Cars Edmonton. Right now, you can lease your 2025 XC90 plug-in hybrid from 1.49% and save $4,600. Or finance a 2025 XC60 from 1.49% and save $1,500. All while being deeply infatuated by the newly upgraded, highly attractive body and wheel design. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street Southwest.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Start your adventure with a 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander at Cross Mitsubishi. Lease it for $299 a month with $49.99 due at signing. Enjoy 0% financing, a $1,000 trade rebate, and a $500 loyalty rebate. Equipped with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. Offer ends February 28th. Visit Cross Mitsubishi at 9605 34th Avenue or online at crossmitsubishi.ca. Cross Mitsubishi, drive your ambition.
Pickleball is the fastest growing sport in North America, and by sponsoring the upcoming NAPP pickleball tournaments, you can grow too. Reach a dedicated, expanding audience of pickleball fans and boost your brand's visibility through NAPP events and social media. Visit napptour.com/sponsors to learn more and get involved in this quickly expanding, wildly popular sport. Connect with the passionate and active pickleball community today. That's napptour.com/sponsors.
Snow removal contractors and community leagues. The tools you need are available at the prices you want. Now at the Lawnmower Hospital. Save up to $1,300 and get a free Echo backpack blower. All of BCS's industry-leading belt-free snow sweepers are on sale. And you'll get the powerful Echo PB 9010 backpack blower free with select models. Find out more at thelawnmowerhospital.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Do it at Hughes Car Wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Portion of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. Watch every Oilers game at OTR with $5.25 Molson Canadian, $5 Pink Whitney shots, and 60-cent wings. Plus, play Oilers score and win for your chance to win On the Rocks gift cards. Oilers hockey at OTR. Book your table today. Jasper Ave in 118th.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
And on the Gregor Show, Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. Reminder, our very unique package tonight, dinner for $6. You get a limo that will pick you up, take you downtown to the original flagship fire station number 1. Well, not the original, but flagship station number 1. You'll have a meal prepared by Edmonton's own 5-star chef, Andrew Funk. So the meal's going to be great. You get a tour of the hall, equipment, jump on the fire trucks, get firsthand insight into everything the Edmonton firefighters do. You'll also get to dine with some of the firefighters, and it'll be on April 28th. Okay? From 7 to 10 o'clock. So if you want in, 833-401-1440. We're up to $1,200. We'd like to get that up a little bit more. We're helping out Muscular Dystrophy today. So there you go. Kevin Woodley is going to join us as we go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. They're the most diversified electrical contractor in Alberta. 4 divisions and projects and service and tag and solar for both commercial or residential. That is actionelectrical.net. And most of you are texting in, agreeing that the orders, well, yeah, I don't think they're as quick overall as they were last year. I definitely don't think they're as physical as they were overall last year. And so they're not miles away from it. You know, you got some guys playing worse than last year, some playing better. And you've got, still 25 games for guys to round into form. That's the good news. But they're going to need to get better a little bit quicker as Kevin Woodley joins us. Woodley, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. My sincere apologies for being a little late here today, Jason. We had some exciting news at the home front as my kid pursues some college opportunities. So we had to have a family discussion. So.
Nice. Are you sitting there? Is he going to have a big unveiling with a hat and where he's going to go?
She and I don't think we're quite
no.
at that level
Okay.
yet.
All right.
but,
Well, that's good. That's good.
For
I
the
know
first
it's
time in a long time,
today.
there's decisions to be made. What
Ooh.
the next step will be for whether she chooses academics or volleyball. So some opportunities. It's
Nice.
exciting.
It's always good. The Ville Husso trade, for those who are just joining us, Detroit trades Ville Husso to Anaheim for future considerations, no cap retained. So the Ducks just take on salary. People are like, well, he's in the last year of his deal for futures, which means nothing. And Detroit now frees up, just over $1 million on their of cap space for them. What do you make of this deal? And is this a precursor to moving John Gibson, or do you think they're not connected?
Well, actually, as soon as I saw that, like I said, that was happening in the midst of a bunch of exciting things here. I sent a text message right away because I'm like, like, sent to a note to somebody in the Ducks organization, like, what am I missing here?
Yeah.
So is this insurance because the upper body injury is more serious, or is this insurance because Gibson's on the move? And I don't have an answer to that yet. If my phone dings while we're talking here, maybe I get a little more insights into it. But it's a curious move for a goalie who has just struggled so mightily and kind of became another one of those, warning signs of, getting too invested in small samples, right? He had success in St. Louis, and it just has not translated in Detroit, maybe in part because of all the injuries. Like, it's kind of two warning signs there. There's the, reading too much into small samples, but also, and then giving 4 times 4 in terms of a contract out of those small samples. And then part B is, what injuries can do to a goaltender. If he can't trust his body, can he trust being out there and playing at sort of his best? So kind of both strikes against Husso. I'm trying to figure this one out myself, Jason. I don't know whether this is ultimately the sign of something to come with Gibson. Husso would be little more than a stopgap.
Yeah.
Behind Dostal in Anaheim down the stretch. But it doesn't, again, based on recent history, like, what kind of a stopgap?
Yeah. Well, you're saying, he struggled this year, so who knows, what he's gonna offer. Kevin Woodley joins us. Kev, over the weekend, the Oilers allowed a lot of goals. I really only saw one that I didn't like, and that was the Chychrun point shot that went through Pickard. But like Stuart Skinner in Philadelphia, I'm sort of like, hey, there is goals against Colorado that we talked about that we didn't like. I had no issue with Stuart Skinner. He actually made some really big saves. Like, they were atrocious defensively in that game.
Yeah, I mean, only one goes down as a mid. 4 of the 9 are high danger. He's not that far off the expected. Like, and that's the thing. Like, seems to be the larger conversation. When the Oilers defend well, he plays well. And so when they struggle like this, you could say any goalie is going to struggle when the team's porous defensively. The question becomes, like, are you making moves? And I know there's a lot been bandied. I got a few phone calls from Edmonton today, wondering about, some guys that might be available and how would it work and how would it fit? Like, I don't think you should be making those moves based off what your team isn't, right? Like, hey, when we're not at full attention and we don't defend, we give up these chances and we're not sure our guy's going to bail us out. Because ultimately, if that's the way you're going to play in the playoffs, it's probably not going to matter anyways. And yet, I'll give you counterpoint would be here in Vancouver, where they committed to Kevin Lankinen for a lot of years at $4.5 million. And one of the biggest things that Kevin has done here is bail them out early. Like, they have not been a good first period team. They give up a ton of high dangers. They're a team that seems to want to wade into games and dip their toes and see how hard they're going to have to play on any certain night. And he bails them out with a bunch of high danger, high degree of difficulty saves in the first period. Like, it's been a trend throughout the year. It's one of those things that it's hard to sort of find the numbers on unless you go looking for them. And I know to go looking for them because I watched all these games and watched them, like they did in Vegas on Saturday night, have slow starts. And so, yeah, like that's the kind of thing that some goalies can deliver. And in the case of Vancouver, they're ultimately going to pay big bucks for it over the next 5 years because of Lankinen's ability to do that. But for the most part, you want to buy your goaltending or plan your goaltending around how you think your team is going to play when it matters the most. And I would suggest all those chances that they gave up in Philadelphia were probably more a sign of where they're at in the season and a letdown than they are how you expect the Oilers to play come playoff time. If not, then
doesn't
maybe
matter.
you do need to, yeah, well, or maybe you do need to, like maybe you do need to find goalies they're going to stop bullets in their teeth, right? Like there are those guys out there. They just aren't that many, and they're not making 2.8.
Who are those guys? Anybody in your mind?
Well, let me ask you this: how much? Because this has been thrown at me. How much of the conversation? And I don't know if he's available or not. And the cost is, $6 million on the cap. I believe this in another year. But like, how much of the conversation since the Four Nations is around Jordan Binnington in that market?
Well, see, that would be my question. Binnington had one good game in that tournament. He wasn't good in the first 3 games. So here's the thing. He was right around expected in those first few games, right? And then in the biggest moments in overtime, he went Superman. They didn't give up a lot in those 3 games.
100%.
And he let in he let in weak goals. That was my concern.
Well,
the final, he was very good. The final, he was good.
Here's the thing, too, is in the regular season, that's been one of the calling cards for Jordan Binnington is no bad goals. Like he has 7 low danger goals on the regular season, which is less by 2 than Connor Halley, right? And so I thought that tournament was really interesting. Statistically, since mid-November, now I got to wash out the start of the season because just the reality, like Stewart's numbers crumble when you include right from October 4th. If you go from mid-November on, and so with that caveat, his numbers are right. Like him and Jordan Binnington are similar, very similar in terms of the way they've performed relative to environments and expected save percentages, similar to, like accounting for shot quality, trying to make all things equal, even though they're never equal, as equal as we can statistically.
Sure.
They're like nose and nose in a lot of this stuff. Low danger stuff, really close. High danger stuff, really close. And so if you're making this investment, what are you making it for? You're making it for that moment, like overtime.
Right.
You're making it for the argument that maybe on nights where they don't show up, he can deliver those moments early in the game, those highlight reels. And I'd have to go through first period and see if that's something that it's actually true. But you're making that investment that this guy can come out and be an acrobat and make these when we suck early, he'll bail us out like Lankinen is here in Vancouver. Right. And then the other thing I will say you're making it for, and we saw this, and even I underestimated this in terms of its importance going into the Four Nations. Man, does he handle the puck. And
oh, yeah, that's a very good point.
In terms of the way that teams transition, and the one thing that I think doesn't get accounted for, because you do see the great, simple little plays and chips, and it's not like this is not Mike Smith trying to lead a breakout. This is just 4, 6, 10-foot passes, little head fakes, little shoulder turns, little shifts that get the forecheck to back off and open up lanes and allow you to transition out of your zone. But the part that's a little harder to sort of quantify, but I would argue tips heavily in his favor against a lot of goalies around the NHL, is how many of those pucks he stops that other goalies don't. He gets back there and sets, even if it's just to set it up for a defenseman coming hard around the net to wheel with it. Okay. He gets back there and stops more pucks, as many as anyone in the league. And that can be a difference maker. But interestingly enough, now we'll go devil's advocate. When I look at the Oilers' numbers, one of the areas they're really struggling in this year, uncharacteristically compared to last year, is they're still giving up stuff off the rush, and they're giving up high danger off the rush, including odd man rushes. Right. Well, having a goaltender who excels at stopping rims and allowing you to break out requires you to have a team that forces teams and opponents to actually dump the puck in.
Yeah.
So again, it goes back to that conversation about that we had, a couple of weeks ago. I'm trying to remember the goaltender we were talking about, John Gibson, in terms of an upgrade, mentioning Anaheim. You can look at all those micro things, and there are going to be areas where there's going to be an improvement, and areas where it might be the same, and areas where it might even be the other way. The key is to look at all those different areas and then figure out how it fits your team. And so Binnington, as incredible as he is as a puck handler, if you're going to continue to give up possession of the blue line off the rush and not force teams to dump, then you're paying a premium for an asset that's not going to be utilized nearly as effectively behind your team certainly not nearly as much as it was behind Canada's team.
Yeah. Kevin Woodley from In Goal Magazine, NHL.com, joins us. So, Kev, you look at it between now and the 11th. Like, I'm not sure I see a ton of goalies available. So there's John Gibson, maybe. But after that, like, I don't know about Binnington. I don't think Demko. So if you look at it, like, outside of Edmonton, like, is Carolina, like, are there any other playoff teams that you think might be looking for a goalie?
I don't know about Carolina, but I do believe it to be true that the conversations they had around Miller and Pettersson at least at one point included an ask about Demko's availability. Okay. Now, I don't believe that was Vancouver initiated, but it was at least an ask. Like, that was part of the conversation.
Right.
Don't know if there was ever any offer made that included him, but so that raises the antenna a little bit that they might be looking. The reality for them is Kochetkov keeps getting better, and he's statistically as he keeps getting better, like, this is turning into a really good season for Pyotr Kochetkov. Now, the challenge there is like, he's plus 2.5% adjusted save percentage since mid-November, which would put him like 6th in the NHL. Like, that's how good he's playing. That's some pretty high level goal. He's 11th in the league on the season overall right now at plus 1.9%. Again, some pretty high level goal for him. And Freddie Anderson, when healthy, is playing at a really high level. It's just the question, can you depend on him to stay healthy, which makes the request for Demko ironic given his similar struggles.
Yeah.
The other challenge with Kochetkov is just the lack of experience for a team that's in win now mode. And that, they call him Pochetkov in Carolina for a reason, man. That high risk, athletic style of play where he is prone to do things where there are times, man, where like there was a game in here in Vancouver that ended up going overtime. The Canucks got a point, and the only reason they got a point trailing 3-1 going into the third period was Kochetkov. Not because he was bad, because he took risks that didn't pay off. He charged out to the top of the circles on a dump in, lost a race. It just gave away goals. And so playoffs are so much about momentum and a simplified game. And I wonder if there's some questions about whether they can trust him to play a simplified game.
Okay. That's fair. Lastly, when you look at, like, cause I know you break down, styles and changes and everything like that. And that definitely factors in. What about like Minnesota and their goaltending? Like, do you see, is Fleury clearly the number 2? Is he going to push more down the stretch? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, 2025 hasn't been kind to Gustafsson statistically, right?
No.
So I would say that the door is cracked open a little bit. He's one of the best goalies in the first half of the season, but it's kind of dipped here a little bit.
Yes, he
has. He wasn't the only one, right? Like I think people didn't realize this, but Connor Halley went into the Four Nations with a below expected result since the calendar flipped to 2025. Really? Nobody can tell because Winnipeg was defending at such a high level. His expected in that time was 910. And so, he's gone from leading the class for the Vezina from a goal saved above expected perspective to being like 3rd or 4th. Still going to win the Vezina unless he completely falls off a cliff here. But like, January wasn't kind to him either. And then he showed how good he can be behind a good team. The door's open a little bit for Fleury. The thing that I think prevents him from busting it wide open, frankly, is that in the past couple of years, when he's gotten those opportunities, the success just hasn't been there in the playoffs. Like, I was all over them rotating with him and Gustafsson 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't work. And it didn't work not because they hadn't done it. It didn't work because Marc-Andre Fleury did not deliver at the same level that he had delivered at consistently throughout the season. It's almost like there's a tension in his game when the playoffs or big moments start that isn't there anymore during the regular season. And so unless they're willing to give that one more roll of the dice and see, if they can get the best out of him in a postseason and leave that door open for a playoff game, I'm not totally convinced that that's going to happen this year. And then there's the flip side of this, and that's, if Gustafsson's your guy long term, even with Wallstead coming, what does it do if you turn the crease over to a guy who's already said he's going to retire, no doubt, in the Stanley Cup playoffs, in the matter that, the moments that matter the most for the Minnesota Wild.
Kev, great stuff as always, buddy. We appreciate it. We'll talk more goaltenders next week as we get closer to the trade deadline. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Like I said, sorry for being late, guys.
All right, no problem. It's Kevin Woodley from Ingo Magazine, NHL.com. Quick break. We'll come back, wrap things up. And if you're going to get your final bids in on the Dinner with the Firefighters, helping out Muscular Dystrophy, 833-401-1440.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet every week all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Are you tired of waking up tired? Are you tossing and turning all night and stiff and sore the next morning? If your sleep is suffering, it's time to visit the Brick Mattress Store. Their sleep experts will help you find the right support for a restful night's sleep. Back sleeper, side sleeper, hot or cold, there is a perfect mattress for you. Plus, with next day delivery, your best night's sleep could be tomorrow. Check out the Brick Mattress Store locations at Spruce Grove, South Edmonton, St. Albert, Leduc, and start waking up refreshed.
The Alzheimer's Face-Off presented by Christensen Communities Limited hits the ice April 25th to 27th, pairing hockey fans with some of their favorite players from the NHL Alumni Association for a fun-filled weekend in support of the Alzheimer's Society of Alberta and Northwest Territories. Friday features a champions luncheon followed by the teams hitting the ice on Saturday and Sunday in a friendly hockey tournament at Terwilliger Rec Center. To purchase a table to the champions luncheon or to learn more about how you can get involved in the tournament, visit alzheimersfaceoff.ca for more info.
Dang. Last season, you bought new clubs to fix your game. You spent the entire season trying to learn how to hit with your magic clubs. And guess what? Dang. They didn't help your game. Now you're convinced it's your swing, but it really is your clubs. Even though you were told the ones you bought were the best ever made, if they were, you would have gotten better. Every day at Fitted Golf, we continue to prove the right clubs make all the difference in the world. From beginners to pros, Fitted Golf makes all the difference. Yes! FittedGolf.ca.
Introducing the new McSpicy from McDonald's. It looks like a regular chicken sandwich, but it's actually a spicy chicken sandwich. McSpicy. Consider yourself warned. Limited time only at participating McDonald's in Canada.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Cantork. We offer sale, rental, repair, and calibration of hydraulic, pneumatic, and battery-powered torque wrenches, stud tensioners, and flange maintenance equipment. Order today at cantork.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, as we roll through a busy Monday. Let's get to the 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. If all of a sudden your furnace conks out tonight on the weekend, anytime, give them a call. No overtime charges. LegacyHeating.ca. Cam Tate, longtime journalist in town. Of course, Cam, born with cerebral palsy. Cam's in a wheelchair and has always wanted to be in radio, but due to his disability, wasn't allowed until now. Due to the wonders of technology, Cam's words come to life in the 2-minute warning.
I went to school at Glen Rose School Hospital, and we had a very competitive floor hockey league. Everyone else played in their wheelchairs, but when I was, what would I have been? 5, maybe 6. My dad put me on my knees in between the kitchen, table legs, and handed my mom's potato masher. That was my goal stick. Then Dad got a tennis ball and the only hockey stick in the house and took shots on me. I took my style of goaltending, the same position Dad had when he was a kid, to Glen Rose. I have moderate to severe cerebral palsy. My best friend Curtis had muscular dystrophy and had a power wheelchair, a big power wheelchair, one very heavy power wheelchair. Curtis was my left defenseman, and every now and then, when the ball was around the goal crease, Curtis ran over my hands. One game, after I threw my left leg out to make a save, he, again, by accident, ran over my foot. No bones, broken. We had a pretty good floor hockey club. In fact, I had a 1.45 goals against, Did you hear that? Stan Bowman? Jeff Jackson? Maybe? Being on my knees, I couldn't see over him. One day I yelled at him, said I couldn't see. Shut up, Tate, Curtis said. I'll see for you. I share this story with this week's fundraiser for local firefighters are doing for muscular dystrophy, a cruel, cruel disease which eats away at muscles. Life expectancy is between 18 and 20. Outside of floor hockey, we had dreams to be sports writers. He'd cover football. I would cover hockey. We lost Curtis. He was 24. There are so many kids out there just like him who want fun, want to be part of the team. So please think about making a donation or a bid. And if I can ask, make it in memory of Curtis. I miss you, brother. 2-minute warning with Tater. Gregor Show. Monday, Friday, Sports 1440.
It's great stuff, Tater. And you know what? Tomorrow morning, there's another auction for all of you who play hockey. That'll be a real cool one with Sheets and Carius in the morning. So congratulations. We got our bid up to $1,500 today. Jason, congratulations. You have the top bid for the dinner. We'll get you set up with them. Away we go. I like it. Jason's myself. I said I wanted the dinner. I got the dinner. Nice. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a wonderful Monday evening. Oilers Tampa tomorrow. We'll discuss it. Here's the Con Man, a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Ewell, your partner in power since 1975. For all your electrical gears, one stop shop, get it all, ewel.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Very light night in the NHL this evening. Just underway in Winnipeg. Jets and Sharks are scoreless. Later tonight, you got the Golden Knights and Kings. It'll be an 8:30 puck drop from Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles. Off the ice, have a trade today. The Red Wings trading the goaltender Billy Husso to the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for future considerations. Detroit will save $3.6 million on their cap by trading Husso to Anaheim. Also, the NHL Department of Player Safety suspended Trevor Zegras 3 games for his incident last night against the Red Wings. And Gary Bettman upholding suspension of Minnesota Wild forward Ryan Hartman for roughing Tim Stützle, though it does go from 10 games to 8. Sad news from the Major League Baseball as Cleveland Guardians owner Larry Dolan passing away today at the age of 94. And in the association right now, Pistons and Clippers tied at 39. Nuggets on top of the Pacers 52-45, and the Sixers trail the Bulls 48-34. That'll do it for us here on the Gregor Show. Coming up next, we got Fox Sports Radio, and tomorrow morning, live local coverage back at 7 a.m. on the Kevin Carius Show. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.